gentlemen, brothers and sisters, children of all ages, get your cocktails ready because the countdown will commence shortly. Yes, long shanks, I'm working on it. Brief technical difficulties I'm working through over here. Bear with me, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, children of all ages. All right, we got it all worked out. Let's get this ball rolling. God, I hope we have it all worked out. In 3, 2.
Looking a little ordinary? Is it lacking something awesome? Well, head out to your local liquor store and pick up something extraordinary. Grab a bottle of Old Humble Straight Whiskey or Old Humble Special Reserve. They're clean, smooth, easy drinking whiskeys that taste the way whiskey should taste. From humble beginnings to an extraordinary finish, Old Humble whiskeys are what your bar needs today. Walk tall, be awesome, and drink humble. Old Humble Straight Whiskey and Old Humble Special Reserve. Get yours today.
Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, where is my camera? Why is my camera not active? What in the hell? What is going on with my camera? Activate. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, children of all ages, I am the Old Humble Guy, and we are a show rife with technical difficulties already. And we're not even, 2 minutes into the show? Geez, 5 minutes into the show, and it is rife with technical difficulties. That it does not bode well for the future. I am the Old Humble Guy. This is the Old Humble Distilling Company's Wednesday happy hour, and above my head, you can see the news of the hour. Where's it at? Right here, above my head. Boom, right here in the first quadrant. No, the second quadrant. That'd be quadrant 1. This would be quadrant 2, and this is the bottom third. Our whiskey mini fest is May 20th, next Saturday. 3 bands, Same Old Circles, Gale Ryder, and the all-star legend of Old Humble shows, Ryan Adam Wells himself. We've also got, do I have a shot glass in here? Do I? I wonder if my lovely wife, would be kind enough to bring me a shot glass. We will see. I love her, truly do. She is a saint among mortals. Love her so much. But that is our show. Ryan Adam Wells, Gale Ryder, Same Old Circles. We have Jeff with a G and Scabs the Clown doing mysticism, sideshow, and freak show stuff. It's going to be fun. It is going to be a hoot and a half a hoot again. So that'd be like 3 hoots, 2 hoots. It's going to be fun, absolutely fun. And then we've got we'll have barbecue, and the headliner of the whole night is that we are releasing our special edition. Hey, my love.
I love you too.
Thank you, baby. This isn't an Old Humble shot glass. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. I love you. Mwah.
I just heard you say shot glass.
I love you. We've got like 95 shot glasses in this house, and she brings me one. It's a University of Houston shot glass, and not an old. I love her. Yeah, I love her. She didn't have to do anything. She could have just fucking ignored me the whole time. But she did not. She was kind and sweet, and kind enough and sweet enough to leave my pants somewhere where they can be found. I don't want to take a shot of Boomtown Bourbon. I do want to take a shot of... What do I want to take a shot? I'll take a shot of my straight whiskey. Yeah, we'll do a shot of straight whiskey to open our show. Opening shot is our straight whiskey. But yeah, the headliner of the night on May 20th is going to be our once-in-a-lifetime... this is our straight whiskey, by the way. Purple label. Delicious, delightful. Never a dull moment with Old Humble straight whiskey in the house. But it will be our once-in-a-lifetime release of our Blackout Boomtown Bourbon and the black label with gold trim. Once-in-a-lifetime release of this once-in-a-lifetime bourbon made from meltwater captured after the 2021 freeze. We'll never be able to make it again because we're never going to have this water again. And we will... if for another special edition, anything like that, we're going to have to wait for another once-in-a-lifetime event to occur. Which, hey, it's happening like pretty much every year. So, Lord willing, and if the creek don't rise, this will be a once-in-a-lifetime bourbon. Cheers, all you fancy, beautiful people out there. And soon, our bourbon will be available for you to purchase off of our website. More on that coming up. I got to groom my beard real quick. So long and luxurious and beautiful. Love my beard. All right. So that's the big news. The last 3 days, you've seen me working in the distillery. I've been building my bathroom out. Friday will be the exciting conclusion when we put in the actual drywall and seal in the outer shell of the bathroom. And then early next week, we will be bottling up this bourbon and putting in our toilet in the bathroom, which will be super duper exciting. And then we will have a live from Old Humble Distilling Company, first ever poop. I'm kidding. We're not going to have the inaugural poop live streamed. Maybe we will. Maybe we will do the first inaugural poop live streamed from the distillery. Hey, that's gonna take some timing to try and plan that out properly. Talk about dropping a video. Oh man, that'll be something. Anyway, today we are at that moment. It's 10:15. It is time to get on with the meat and potatoes of the show. I'm gonna pour myself a cocktail, and we're gonna talk about what we're gonna talk about. The promise of AI and automated cars. Now, pour my drink. I always say that our Wednesday night happy hours is what this is what it used to be like when you go to a bar. You go to a bar, you belly up to the bar, you get your drink, you turn to the stranger next to you and you go, hey, what do you think about, or I've been thinking about, oh God, I got to get these labels updated. Jesus, you can't even see that. Ugh. Whoever designed these labels is a moron. Spoiler alert. Hi, it's me. I'm the problem, it's me. I designed the labels. I'm the moron. Okay. So, but first, before I get into my monologue, I want to talk about chat real quick. Safety Doc is in. Cheers, John Longshanks. Cheers, Safety Doc. Cheers, Safety Doc says AI has the potential to completely flatline stock markets by 2025. I don't know about that. Every action would have an immediate counteraction. Oh, I see flatline. Just mean it's not going to go up or down. Immediate counteraction might be massive volume trading and net baseline end of every trading day. Possibly. I mean, it's possible. When you talk about algorithms that act on market motion, they buy when it goes up, or buy when it goes down, and sell when it goes up, and to the extent that prices are predicated on trading behavior, yes. To the extent that prices are predicated on actual value of companies and based on future revenue, no, because companies grow revenue. It may take out some of the variances, the day trading, inefficiencies, where people can take advantage of the inefficiencies in the market. What little inefficiencies there are, the imbalance of information and the um, lack of equity in information shares. The people who are closer to the markets get they get a couple of milliseconds ahead on trades, so they can work arbitrage and things like that. That will be reduced significantly because, like you say, for every action there'll be opposite reactions, taking away those inefficiencies of the markets. But to the extent that values of companies are that stock market prices are still predicated on values of companies, actual value, growing revenue and growing sales, and the actual metrics that value companies. Now we'll still have stock market stuff. I'm not convinced it'll be now. There's other reasons to worry about AI flatlining markets and cratering markets. Well, we'll talk about that in a minute. First off, though, cheers. So let's talk. The doom and gloom that we hear about AI. And I was stretching last night trying to put a happy face on like the legitimate doom and gloom of AI generated scripts and AI generated music and AI generated art that kind of cuts the human element out. I don't like that plan at all. I do not like the idea of AI generated art because I really do. I like to think that art is based in human emotion and human observation. Now, to the extent, I'm saying this a lot, to the extent that AI can create art based on the broad understanding of communications across social medias, because they collect all this data from us. They're able to collect all this data, and theoretically, at least, AI would be able to hoover that up and create art and scripts and songs and poetry and books based on what real life experience that they can hoover up out of the social media environment. That's entirely possible, but I'm not sold on the idea of AI doing all that. And we like picture in the cover sheet here with the robot apocalypse where the AI overtakes and tries to make the world better, but they realize that humans are the problem, so they kill everybody and Um, robots being better than humans at everything. So eventually robots take over all the jobs and humans don't have anything to do. And then the economy collapses. And I'm not here for the doom and gloom. I'm not here for the doom and gloom. Think of the golden age of leisure that would be ushered in when computers finally replace you for the jobs that you do, the mundane jobs that we don't have to pay for anymore. Proofreading and accounting and financial decisions and things like that. You just plug them into the algorithm, and the best outcome comes out. And the amount of leisure time that frees up. If robots can make burgers for us, if robots can produce food for us, if robots can do that kind of work, there's still going to be plenty of people that have to do work, but it's not going to be nearly as much work as it used to be. And the amount of time that people do work is just going to plummet. Now, there's a question about how much time needs to be done at work to make sure you're still an expert and you're good at what you do. That's a legitimate concern. But, like, can you go do your job once a week and be good at it? Can you show up at the office once a month and be good at your job? I don't think so. I don't think you can do that. I don't think you can turn it on and turn it off like that. You kind of got to do it every day. It's a practice thing. But all that said, the benefits, I think, largely, to a large extent, can outweigh many of the headaches. We're working with better information. We're working with faster information. We're working with cleaner information. We're taking the human variables out of the decision making, although that's not entirely true either, because humans still program the decision making matrices. And in those decision making matrices, when you see robots and computers making those decisions and you see objectively the outcomes of those decisions, you can see the prejudices and racism, systematic racism that's included in those decision-making processes. But it might also make us better at making those decisions and cleaning up those algorithms and getting the systemic institutionalized racism out of our systems and out of our institutions. So that if we do it right, can still lead to a golden age of civilization and society. Entirely plausible, not out of the question. These are just some of the promises, like in general, of generic AI. But I want to talk specifically about the promise of AI-equipped automated cars. Because you think about this. The biggest challenge you have when you're driving is the first 5 miles away from your house and the last 5 miles away from your destination. Those are the two biggest challenges you have while driving. For the most part, the long trips, the miles in between those, are mundane, relatively steady, relatively slow. Like, for example, if I'm driving from my house to my old office just outside of downtown Houston on the south end of downtown Houston, I've got to come out of my house, through the neighborhood, down the street, stop the stop sign, down the street, stop the stop sign, turn, go down the street, come to the major freeway where the neighborhood dumps out. Get onto the major artery, get onto the major freeway, whatever the major artery is. And once you get onto the major artery, you have several lanes that are feeding you down the way. You go to the exit ramp, go to the entrance ramp, you're going down the major lanes, exit to another freeway, major lanes, exit off the freeway onto a side road, onto a major artery, and now it's turn, stoplight into the parking garage, you're done. It's those last 5 minutes and last 5 miles and first 5 miles. All the others, major lanes, driving mostly straight. And if it weren't for all the other cars on the road, that would be a nice and easy drive. It's the human interaction. It's not the car interaction, it's the human interaction, right? Because you're in your lane, this car slows down, you have to slow down, go around them. This car, you have to get out of the way of this car, everybody's moving around trying to jockey for space. But if they were automated vehicles, like I had the pleasure of driving an automated vehicle, a semi-automated vehicle, when my car was getting repaired a year or so ago. And this thing had a smart cruise control. You set it for whatever your cruise speed was going to be, 70, let's say 70 miles an hour. I set it for 70 miles an hour, but that car would say, okay, I'm going to go 70 miles an hour when I have open road in front of me, but there's a car in front of me, so I'm going to maintain 3 car lengths away from that car, or 2 car lengths away from that car in front of me. So if that car was going 65, my speed control was set at 70. I'm going 65 and I'm maintaining the distance behind that car. AI equipped automated vehicles would do that automatically, where you say, like, go from destination or origin point A to destination B. They get on the road, they find the next car to slot behind. They slot behind the car, and boom, these cars are now communicating with each other. The car in front tells the car behind, this is what we're doing. The car behind says, okay, and they can move right up bumper to bumper and have a nice, smooth. You can have trains of cars going down the freeway with half a car gap in between them. Because when the first car says emergency brake, you don't have to wait for your brain to communicate your from the lights to communicate to your eyes, and your eyes communicate to your brain communicate to your foot, and your foot hit the brake and stop. If the first car says, oh, emergency stop, that signal is sent all the way through the train of cars, and all the cars stop all at the same time. It reduces traffic. It reduces accidents. It makes the roads safer. It makes the roads more efficient. It makes your car more efficient. It makes everything smoother and more efficient, easier to run. If the freeways, the long stretches between major destinations, if the freeways are more efficient, you need fewer lanes for a freeway. You have these automated cars that you can have thousands and thousands of cars in one lane. The single lane capacity for vehicles increases exponentially if they're all automated vehicles. If they're all automated, all electronic, all talking to each other, that single lane has enough capacity for the entire freeway. You could have 3 lanes for the human drivers and 1 lane for the automated drivers. The more automated cars you have, the fewer freeway lanes you need. The fewer freeway lanes you need, the less dead space you have in your cities. And the more efficient your cities are, and the cleaner your air becomes too. Less carbon emissions, more carbon neutral. You get off the main lanes and onto the feeder roads and into the urban area. Those urban streets now, the actual city street, urban and suburban streets, they have higher capacity because now you have smart cars talking to each other. You have this car coming down this street, talking to this car coming down this street. This car knows to stop because this car's coming through and it has a right of way. And you don't need traffic lights anymore because now the cars are talking to themselves. They're managing their own traffic, going through the urban areas, going through the cities, going through the roads, going through the towns. The cars are managing their own traffic. All you're there for is being along for the ride. The cars are managing their own traffic. You don't need stoplights. You won't need speed limits anymore because the cars are able to go at and automate their own speeds. So the speed limits are for you, not the cars. The cars know what their safe speeds are. So it redraws how cities are made. Instead of being they could be a car-centric city and still be pedestrian friendly because cars take up less space. Cars take up less space. People can take up more space. Freeways take up less space. Freeways take up less space. Roads take up less space. The cars themselves are more fuel efficient or more energy efficient. Let's call it energy, not fuel, because they're all electric cars now because they're communicating with each other. They're using less electricity because they're driving more aerodynamically and more fuel efficiently, energy efficiently. The promise of automated vehicles can completely redraw maps of cities. Completely redraw maps. And the thing standing in the way of it, the biggest single roadblock standing in the way of fully automated vehicles is not the safety of automated vehicles. They're already safer than human drivers. The biggest risk to human safety in a car is humans. The biggest risk of a wreck with an automated car is a person running into an automated car or doing something unexpected around an automated car. Running out into the street, taking a hard left turn, taking a hard right turn, that is a big risk for automated cars. The automated, just like when the city of Houston installed the train on Main Street, and a bunch of cars kept running into the train because they were taking left-hand turns when left-hand turns left-hand turns off Main Street when left-hand turns were prohibitive on Main Street. Like, oh, the train hit another car. Like, no. The train a car ran into the train. A car put itself in front of the train and got hit. This wasn't the train's fault. The train wasn't jumping off the tracks and chasing cars down the street. Cars got hit by the train. because cars did dumb things. The car's fault, 100%. Don't blame the train. But the biggest thing standing in the way of broader implementation of automated vehicles is, some people aren't going to like this, it's capitalism. It's the question of who's going to own the car. Because if an automated car runs into somebody, you're not driving the car. Who's liable? Who's liable? The owner of the car? If I own the car and I'm not driving the car, am I liable for that? I don't want to take on that liability. I didn't write the code. I don't get to control how the car works. How can I be liable? There's got to be a different ownership paradigm for fully automated vehicles. And when you talk about a new ownership paradigm for fully automated vehicles, well, now you got to start talking about who owns the car. Are you renting the car from Tesla? Are you renting the car from Google or Apple or whomever is selling you the car? Are you renting it from them? And they still own the car and you're just borrowing it? Do you ever own your car anymore? What if you do go in and tinker with the code and change the code? Are they no longer liable? Do you now own the code? Do you now own the car? The biggest thing standing in the way of fully automated cars, capitalism. Who owns the cars? Who's liable for accidents? That's why you don't have flying cars. I mean, who would be liable if a flying car fell out of the sky? The manufacturer of the car, the driver of the car, the code engineers who coded the cars. No. Cars are already dangerous enough when they move in 2 dimensions. We don't need a car moving in 3 dimensions. They're already dangerous. But yeah, I mean that's the biggest question right now. Because if an automated car runs into somebody, whose fault is it? Because if you're not driving right now, you drive the car. You drive the car. You're supposed to be in control of the car. You steer the car into someone or something. It's your fault. But if you're not driving the car, if you're not touching the steering wheel, you didn't touch the steering wheel. Whose fault is it? That's a big question. That's a huge question. Legal liability, ownership, equity, assets, all that shit. That's a big question. That's a big impediment standing in the way of automated cars. But even that rewrites how companies are valued and how assets are managed. Because think, if Ford sells 250,000 cars a year, but they never transfer possession of those assets from Ford Motor Company to whoever the purchaser of the cars are, they never transfer those assets from Ford to the dealership, and the dealership never transfers the asset from their books to you. It's going to revalue, completely change how Ford gets valued. It's going to completely change how dealerships get valued. It's going to completely change the value of one of the most valuable companies in the stock market and how we value that company and what we consider to be revenue. Because they're not going to be making revenue off of the sale of vehicles. They're going to be making income off the rental of vehicles, the leasing of vehicles that they never actually cease to own. These are big questions. These are huge questions. Huge questions that we don't have the answers to just yet. We're still working through the answers. They're still working through the answers because they're still working through some of the technology. As it stands right now, automated cars are some of the safest vehicles on the road. Fully automated AI-enabled cars are some of the safest vehicles on the road because they're not being driven by crazy people who don't know what they're doing and don't pay attention to the road all the time. Automated cars are smarter, faster, and react quicker than any human-driven car can possibly do it. And, quite honestly, I'm here for it. Because if I could drive to Austin and take a nap along the way, if I could drive to Austin and do work instead of have to sit there and watch the road the whole time, oh my God, that'd be great. Oh my God, it would be a dream come true. What do y'all think about it? I'm curious to know what y'all think about AI, the promise of AI, the promise of automated cars. And meanwhile, we have other stuff going on in the news too. Y'all can talk about that, I guess. I'm here for that too. But there you go. That's the promise. That's the true promise of automated cars. Automated cars, AI in the form of automated cars, can fully redraw the maps of our urban areas, fully redraw the maps of our cities, fully, in some cases, redraw the maps of our states. Because I mean, just think of how much more connectivity we could have if we don't have to build a 4-lane highway to connect distant communities together. I mean, we could have freeway lanes operating the same way that rail lines operate, except with cars. Long chains of cars hooked up and dotted all the way down the freeway, just going, 20, 30, 40 cars at a time, just flying down the highway, 70, 80, 90 miles an hour. Perfectly safe. Inches away from each other's bumpers, all communicating back and forth, letting each other know what's going on, what's next. And if you need to drop out and go to Whataburger or grab the next HEB, you plug into your dashboard, exit to nearest gas station, and then your car zips out of the line. The other cars close up the gap, and you go off to your exit, and the cars just go on their merry way. Man, that'd be a dream come true. I mean, how could that not be the coolest thing? Anyway, I'm going to switch over now to the chat screen, if it works. Fingers crossed that it actually works. My legs are super sore today. They are so freaking sore. Where's my chat counter chat? There it is. They're super sore. Not just climbing up and down on the that one? Yeah. Not just climbing up and down the ladder and moving around and stuff, but just like the bending over that I was doing for the girders. I'm worn out. Not quite so wide, a little bit thinner. All right, so what do y'all think? Promise of AI. How off base do you think I am? Am I full of crap? You tell me. How full of crap am I? I can take it. I'm a big boy. Let's move this over a little bit. Bidoosh. Skidoosh. All right. Reminder, Minifest on the 20th. If you're in the Houston area, come on out to the show. It's going to be a fun one. It's going to be a fun party. What is going on tonight? Where the fuck is everybody? Does nobody want to talk about AI? Is that what it is? There we go. How about that? Is that good? Yeah, that's visible. I like that. Okay. In other news, Penelope was bought by MGP. What else? George Santos is going to jail. Well, he's been indicted. I don't know if he's going to go to jail, but they don't indict sitting congressmen unless they got a case. I'd love to see that lying little bastard go to jail. What else? Anybody think Trump's going to go to jail? How many people we got on the show right now? Corey Lee's in the house. Corey Lee, what's up? You haven't said hi yet. Haven't seen your name, at least. Where's Corey Lee? There's Corey Lee. You're in the house. I see you. You have entered chat. Welcome to the party, Corey Lee Slater. My man, what do you think about what Safety Doc said? You work in the finance field. I think you work in the finance field. No, I'm thinking of Dustin, Top Shelf Dustin. Do you work in the finance field? You're Canadian, aren't you? They have finances in Canada, don't they? Oops. Safety Doc's releasing his audiobook today on Audible. Nice. But he says that acoustic sound canceling headphones. So for every action, there'd be an opposite action and a counteraction on the trading floors. An early forced retiree. Potential completely flatline. Actions having a counteraction, massive volume trading, and net baseline. See, part of the Writers Guild strike has to do with AI, and that's part of the dystopian future of the writers' room is that AI or human physical writers are replaced by AI. that they can write a script, but then the AI will clean it up and polish it up, or AI will write a script, and then all they need to do is bring in writers to humanize it, so that they're not writing a full script anymore. They're just finishing a script. Um, they don't need a writer's room anymore. They just need a couple of gig writers to work their way through the season. That's part of the doom and gloom apocalyptic vision of what AI can do, and it looks like that's exactly what studios want to use AI for. Um, which means it made perfect sense for the writers to strike and tell them to fuck off, because you need to use human writers, otherwise they don't have a job. Got to protect their own industry. Tara Smith's in the house. Cheers, Tara Smith. Hope to see you on the 20th, since you're right here in town. Love to see you on the 20th. Get yourself a bottle of this once in a lifetime blackout bourbon that we've got. A special edition made with rainwater from the melt of the snowpocalypse freeze. And then hang around and listen to the bands. It's free to show up to the party and hang out, but if you want to listen to the bands, it costs $10. If you want to come inside and listen to the bands, it costs $10. Food costs money, whiskey costs money, but if you just want to come and hang out and chill out in the parking lot or whatever, yeah, you're welcome to it. Hopefully you'll be one of them all-stars who's there hanging out with us when we turn off the lights and close the whole shop down. But you're a truck driver. You haul stuff across town. I mean, would you sign up to have an automated rig that drives itself? Very Benjamin Life's in the house. Cheers, Ben. Would you sign up to have a rig that you could just put in the, you get your load and you put in the coordinates of where you're going to, or the address of where you're going to, pull the lever and just let the truck go? Hell no. I need a little bit. Give me a little bit more, because to me that seems like a fucking dream. When I've got to commute to Austin, or if I've got to go to Dallas, or if I've got to go to, because I've a couple of weeks ago I drove back and forth from Houston to Austin 3 times in 4 days. I went out there on a Wednesday, no, I went out there on a Thursday, came back on Friday, went back out on Saturday, came back on Sunday. So I made 4 trips, out and back. 2 round trips, 4 trips between Houston and Austin in 4 days. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, 4 trips in 4 days. It sucked. I was absolutely sick and tired of driving it. By the end of the weekend, I didn't want to. And then I had to go back out for a round trip a week later. I got so damn tired of driving out to Austin. I knew those roads like the back of my hand, but I got absolutely fucking tired of driving out there. For me, that would be an absolute dream to just flip the switch, lean the seat back, and take a damn nap. Oh man, I probably wouldn't take a nap, but to be able to make phone calls, to be able to write stuff down, to be able to do work other than just sit there in the car. But for a living, I mean, you do it for a living. I don't do it for a living. I do it as a part of my commute, as part of my sales functions. I would absolutely love it. Just rode your bike 540 miles just back. Yeah, see, I don't know if automated motorcycles would be a thing. Motorcycles that drive themselves, I don't think that would ever be I mean, I guess it could be a thing. I don't see why it wouldn't be a thing. If you could do it with cars, you could probably do it with motorcycles. But yeah, I mean, it just seems to me that, I mean, I think it would reduce the number of gas stations that are, or charging stations that are along the road, because if cars are driving more efficiently, they're all lined up in a single lane and they're just cruising the entire route. I think it would be you wouldn't need as many gas stations, so the every exit ramp has an island of gas stations motif would go away. But, or maybe they would just reimagine themselves. They wouldn't be gas stations. So too much could happen, and I wouldn't want to relinquish control sliding down a mountain or ice. Oh yeah, that's a good point. going down the side of a mountain, going through ice. That makes sense. That makes sense. But for the vast majority of your miles, though, the vast majority of your miles, you're not going up and down the side of a mountain. For the vast majority of your miles, you're going on flat land. You're going between major urban areas. I mean, if you're going from Houston to Kansas City, there's not a mountain in sight. I mean, your biggest elevation change is an overpass, right? I mean, and what I was saying earlier is that the biggest challenge when it comes to automated driving is the first 5 miles and the last 5 miles. And then of course there's emergency stuff in between. Like if you're going through Colorado, obviously, obviously there's switchbacks and ridiculous challenges along the road. Sorry, I'm taking off my shoes. You're going over a mountain, there's ridiculous challenges. You're going through the tundras, there's ridiculous challenges because of the ice. But even then, I'm pretty sure an AI empowered automated vehicle would be better at driving on ice than a human, because humans, like the biggest safety risk in cars is the human drivers. We do dumb things all the time. We oversteer, we overcorrect, we undercorrect, we understeer. We make dumb mistakes. We change lanes without looking. We get too close to the car in front of us for our reflexes to act. We are the problem when it comes to driving. And it just makes me, if you take out that human element, then cars get a lot safer. That's why trains tend to be safer than cars, because trains don't tend to run into each other. I mean, we have derailments every day, but trains don't tend to run into each other, and trains are still much safer than vehicles. Cars, we have tens of thousands of car wrecks a day, or at least thousands of car wrecks a day. We don't have thousands of train wrecks a day. Now, of course, when a train goes off the tracks, it's a huge catastrophe, because trains carry all the shit. But that said, when you, Tara, truck driver, Tara, when you drive your truck, so let's say you take a load from Houston to Georgia, like that's a 1,500-mile trip, and you don't have to go over any mountains if you're going from here to Savannah. There's no mountains, there's no elevation change, there's no nothing. Right? You're going all the way along the Gulf Coast until you get to South Georgia, then you hang a left and go up to North Georgia. That's it. You go around all the mountain ranges. And even if you go through Interstate 20 along the northern route, you're not going up and down mountains when you go through the Appalachians. You're just kind of, I mean, they're mountains. They're mountains, don't get me wrong. But it's not like you're going up and down the Rockies, right? Anyway, all for electric though. When the battery connector gets to the point where it's viable, yeah. I mean, I am all for electric too, and especially it's much more efficient to have a central electric production point and have the electricity distributed to a bunch of cars than it is to have a bunch of motors on the road, engines on the road, generating their own power. That's why we don't have, generator. All the houses in the country don't have generators. All of our houses are connected to a central electricity producing generator in the middle of the state somewhere. Although there's many houses that do have generators, they're not their primary source of electricity. And there's many houses that are beginning to equip themselves with decentralized electricity generation, which is actually very efficient when it comes to electricity generation. Instead of just having a roof that's useless, you can have a roof that generates electricity and attach it to the grid. And anyway, that's a whole nother topic to be had. Anyway. No, I mean, I just think that the promise outweighs the risk, and the potential outweighs the drawbacks. And even if there's certain circumstances, like with long haul trucks and delivery cross country long haul delivery services. Um, some kind of hybrid model where you can turn off the AI, you can turn off the autopilot, and you can tell the autopilot like I got to take, or there'd be a warning from the autopilot like we're in a no autopilot zone. You have to take control of the vehicle, and a little alarm comes through the system. Whoop whoop! Entering the Rocky Mountain no autopilot zone. Um, I mean, maybe that's what it is. Feeder jobs. With mechanization, feeder jobs replaced those taken with the beginning of automation. Jobs were replaced with AI automation. Be far less replacement jobs. Yeah, I mean, it seems like AI is moving all the way. It's moving up the chain, but I still don't see a day when it's just unchecked AI. You know, I mean, like even with the movie scripts, what the studios are trying to do with the movie scripts, where they have an AI generated movie script, but then they have the human writers come through and proof it out and clean it up and make it normal. And maybe that's just, they take that final product and they plug it back into the algorithm, and the AI learns how to be a better writer. But even then, you've got to, unless it's a fully animated show, you can't just have AI make the show. The actors have to act. The people have to do the work. Um, you can have AI build the car. You can have AI design the car, but there's that gap between the design and the production. Can you have AI design the vehicles, design the production line, and then put everything into production? Can you? I don't know. Theoretically, I guess it's entirely possible for a machine to build itself fully out from scratch. Design, for something to design itself, and then you have it connected to a computer automated, a CAD machine, a laser printer, or something like that. And then it like starts producing parts. And then it starts assembling its own parts, I guess, theoretically. I mean, it's not impossible. It could happen. You could have a design software and a basic builder arm attachment. And then theoretically, that builder arm attachment could take the pieces, put them in place. The laser designer printer thing, 3D printer thing, could build the part, and then the arm could come in, grab the part, manipulate it, take off the pieces, put the part down, and build it. I mean, that's how early mechanization worked. We didn't have the original steam engine was built by watchmakers by hand, and then the development of the first steam engine to pump water was eventually hooked up to a flywheel that then allowed it to turn a crankshaft. That turning crankshaft allowed it to run machines that could then run a boring drill that could then make a better steam piston. And by making a better steam piston, it became more efficient and more efficient and more efficient. And then these better machines can make better valves, they can make better parts. So the steam engines that we have today could not have been invented had we not had early steam engines. And in the days of the early steam engines, we never could have invented the steam engines that we have today, because they just didn't have the ability to make and machine parts that were that fine and that small and that effective. So yeah, it wouldn't be at all inconceivable to have a robot, an AI interface, design a machine, or design a product, and then design a machine and process to build that product, and then execute the plans to build that machine and assemble it so that it could then produce the product that it designed on its own. And that would be a fully automated production line. A fully automated production line. So conceivably, I mean, let's think this out all the way through. Conceivably, what I'm talking about is some person plugs into an AI system this notion, this idea, this concept. It says, look, we want you, AI machine, chatbot, chat GPT, whatever. We want you to go scour the internets. We want you to scour the internets. We want you to especially look at social media platforms, social media networks, and identify phrases like, I wish I had a, or I need a. Find out what it is that people need, what it is they want. And, let's just assume that it's the internet. So let's just assume that, this AI chatbot thing figures out that everybody needs a sex toy, some kind of sex toy, a plumb bob or plumbus, whatever that thing from Rick and Morty is. They need a plumbus. And it says, okay, this is what people want. People love these things. And it drafts the design in its software and says, this is the next big thing. Boop. And then it generates and the AI generates a marketing campaign for it. Social media posts, pictures, CAD design stuff. It generates all this stuff. Generates the whole thing from scratch because it scoured the interwebs. It looked at the social media face pages and it was like, okay, this is what people are chatting about. This is what people are identifying as a product that they want. This is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to build it. And then like the whole system, it's an AI like Chat GPT type of thing, whatever, that just generates the drafts, right? And it's connected to a manipulation arm and a 3D printer. That's it. That's your basic production line. A thing that thinks up a thing that prints the thing, and a thing that manipulates a thing. It sends the schematics and the plans to the 3D printer. The 3D printer starts to print it out. It prints out the pieces. The manipulation arm grabs the pieces, cleans it off, sets it aside. Grabs the piece, and then it starts to assemble the pieces. Plugs it in, turns it on, and then you have them, or it starts to assemble the piece of machine, and it cleans it up. Now you have the product is being produced one at a time, and then the AI says, "We need more of these. We're producing 32 a day. We need more." So then it either orders another 3D printer, or it builds a 3D printer from this 3D printer. The 3D printer prints another 3D printer. I know we don't have the technology to do that yet. Shut up. This is a fantasy. But let's say it orders the 3D printer and what comes in the mail. So now the machine has doubled its production. And now it's producing 2. So now you get 64 a day. And it says, no. What we need is 250. So it orders 2 more 3D printers. The 3D printer gets delivered. The little manipulation arm goes, it gets the box, brings it in, sets it down, opens it up, plugs in the 3D printer. Like the little manipulation arm does it all, right? Because it's AI. It's AI and pathfinding, code-based, whatever. You could do it. Theoretically. I mean, we may not be at the technology yet to be able to do it, but I'm sure Boston Dynamics is moving in that direction. I'm sure they're moving in that direction. They can do it. And this isn't like a dystopian idea. This is like potentially earth-shattering, game-changing type of stuff where you have AI, if you have like a little t-shirt shop, whatever, and your AI, you have a t-shirt shop, you have a little AI web crawler that goes out and it finds keyword phrases, hashtag phrases, tags that people are using on their social media posts. And your concept is, I'll have my AI go out and find the most popular hashtags that people are using, and we're going to put it on t-shirts. So you have your AI going and finding the stuff, and then it puts it into its algorithm and sends it to your screen printer. And then your screen printer starts to automatically print out t-shirts, print out t-shirts. So now your AI is instructing your t-shirt machine to produce t-shirts using hashtags that are common and popular on social media networks. So now you're getting t-shirts that are like hashtag too cool or hashtag so sexy or whatever. And that's, it's got a little cool design. It's kind of hashtag Old Humble. I mean, don't sell me out. It could be that. And then it creates the social media marketing plan, all the hashtags, sends it out, all you do as the business owner is you set the budget for the marketing, right? You license you buy the license for the AI, and you set the budget for the marketing. And then if it creates the post, it has the pictures of the generated pictures of your T-shirts on fictitious human beings. And now you've got social media posts that it's posting on, all the places, and it has a modest budget behind all the posts. So it's going out there and doing all of that. And the next thing you know, the orders are rolling in, and the orders come in, and it automatically fills the orders. The little manipulation arm folds the T-shirts up, or you do because you're a monkey. But it folds the T-shirts up, puts it into the bag, prints out the address that the thing's going to, slaps it on the bag, out the door. A fully automated production line, with designs that are scraped off the internet. That's not inconceivable. And that's not even dystopian. That is a dream. That's the type of business that some dumb high schooler could do. That's the type of business you could run out of your dorm room. That's the type of business you could run as a side business and make thousands of dollars a day. That's the type of business I think I'm going to close the fucking distillery and do that. But it's the research. The generation thing is that it takes the research and distills it down and puts it on a product. And then it generates the fully automated social media campaign. I'm already dabbling around with automated social media stuff through one of my mail service things. The newsletter that I sent out 2 days ago was some of the text was semi-automated. Like I had it generate the text, and I went through and I edited it and cleaned it up for one of the blurbs. But it's not at all inconceivable for an AI chatbot to generate a fully automated marketing campaign. Would it be as effective as a human marketing campaign? Maybe more effective. Because humans, we have biases and we have prejudices and we have just preconceived notions. Like, this should work. I don't want to be that. I do want to be that. This should work. This shouldn't work. So we do the things that should work, but we don't ask what does work, right? So we have all these preconceived biases and preconceived notions on our marketing campaigns, but a chatbot doesn't. A chatbot just looks out there and looks at the landscape of everything and says, okay, this is what's happening right now. It doesn't have shame. It doesn't care. So it's not going to be like, well, I don't want my product associated with whatever, gay album covers or whatever. I don't want my product associated with that. I'm not going to do it. The chatbot will just be like, this is the top 10 trending things. Put your product with those hashtags and send it out. Poof, done. God, that could be amazing. That could be absolutely amazing. Types of products that you could do. Types of things. Anyway. Child's Racetrack or the Underground Electric Trams. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Keep people off the highways, at least. Well, yeah, and that's what I mean. Like the truck, 80% of the trip in a truck might be automated, but there'd be zones where you're not allowed. But you're absolutely not allowed to automate it because it requires human intervention, or they don't want people to not be fully alert because anything unexpected could happen on the roads. But yeah, if you have lanes dedicated to fully automated vehicles, and you could have these 2 lanes over here for the human drivers and this 1 lane, it would be a clear visual reminder that this lane is efficient and these lanes aren't. Because when It's 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning when this lane is full of bumper to bumper traffic for as far as the eye can see. This lane is zipping along with cars and bumper to bumper just flying. Zip, 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 zip. That would be cool to see. That would be absolutely cool. And yeah, it would largely keep people off the highways because people are the most terrifying things about people on the highways. And I agree with you 100%, Tara Smith. I fully believe that every single home should have solar panels on their roof. Single, every single new home. It should be. I mean, it'll never happen in the state of Texas because Greg Abbott has been stuffed so far up oil and gas buttholes. He would never, ever, 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 ever do anything to get people off the addiction. But I fully believe every single new home should have at least, 1,000 megawatts, 1,000 kilowatt capacity of solar on the house. Without question. The benefits of solar on your house from purchase, it gets rolled into your mortgage. So a $30,000 solar array on your house only costs like $50 a month or $25 a month on a 30-year mortgage. It's practically nothing. And that cuts your electric bill in half. So it costs you $30 a month, but it saves you like $100 a month in the summer. It saves you over the course of the year about $75 a month. It's insane. Absolutely insane. Anyway, back up. Nuclear reactors are fine. Nuclear reactors are actually some of the most efficient electric productions ever. But one of the main reasons why nuclear reactors did not take off is, once again, capitalism. They cost a lot to build, and there was very little upside to the utilities because when you have abundant energy that's practically free, they don't make any money. And if they're not going to make any money, well, then they don't want to do it. So when you have private power generators that have monopolies in the states, and you basically tell them, we want you to produce more electricity than we would ever need, and it would be clean, relatively clean, it would be abundant, and it would be cheap. They freak the fuck out. Because then they're looking at it going, we're going to spend all this money to produce all this electricity and we're going to have to sell it at pennies on the dollar? No. Why would we do that when we can sell coal and gas powered electricity for dollars on the dollar? Tens of dollars on the dollars. Yeah. Capitalism killed nuclear energy. And that's unfortunate. Because we could do amazing things with nuclear energy, with cheap, abundant electricity, with nearly free electricity. Holy shit, we could do amazing things. But just think about it: if the tax rate had stayed where it was in the late '60s, early '70s, if the income that we were making as a nation would have stayed where it was then, we would have so much money right now as a country. Not as we as people may not be richer than than we are now. I mean, the wage gap would have been not nearly as high, but that's another theoretical thing to talk about another day. We'd have infrastructure. We'd have more money than we knew what to do with. We'd have infrastructure. We could have gold-plated highways. Unbelievable. It would the potential, just the potential and possibility. It's worth noting that maybe the economy doesn't grow the way it did because a lot of the growth in the economy was because money was left in the private sector, and it was allowed to accumulate among the top 5% and 1% of of the population. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that's another thought experiment to have for another night. Like, if what would have happened if if today's economy had the same relative wage gap that we had in the late 60s? What if the 1950s economy was still the paradigm that we had today? What if manufacturing was here? I mean, inflation would have been just insane over the last, I don't know. I don't even know. I don't know. I don't even know where to think. This is the genesis of the next idea. This is where I'm gonna ponder down all these things and write down a whole bunch of what ifs and think about that. Like, what if? What would happen? Where would we be? And we'll see where it goes, because each one of those has, we might do this, but then these would be the risks and consequences. Like, we would have more money in our pocket because the middle class and the lower class would be, one, we'd still exist, but two, we'd probably be making twice as much money. But if we're making twice as much money, then everything else costs twice as much, right? Relatively speaking. But then again, huh, I don't know. That's for another night. I'm talking about AI today. The ruling class wouldn't need us. It's entirely possible. Well, you see, Corey Lee, when you talk about that, like jobs getting replaced with automation, that's when you talk about a universal basic income. Uh, that's that automation dividend. That's the efficiency dividend that they talked about in the UBI discussions. That we're doing the work, but when you replace us with robots, well, you still owe us a you're still responsible to us. You the company, you aren't lowering your prices, but you the company are now putting a significant portion of the community out of business and or out of work. But that it's not something that we want to discourage, right? We want companies to do this. We want companies to get more efficient. We want companies to use robots. We want companies to make more stuff with less people and less resources. But then you got to do something with the people. You don't want people walking around without any money in their pocket. So maybe that's an argument to be had, that then you put a special tax on corporations, like a special whatever 10% excise tax, an automation excise tax, whatever, so that they're not paying their robots, but this would be basically the equivalent of they spend $1 million on a robot, so then they have to pay $100,000 in uh, a robot tax every year, a 10% tax on the robot every year. And that's like a standard. You never have to give the robot a raise. You never have to give the robot a raise. You never have to do anything for the robot. But instead of paying 5 people to do the job that one robot can do, you have to pay $100,000, which is still significantly less than you would have paid those 5 people. But that $100,000 goes into a UBI fund that people laid off from work because of roboticization, automation, would then be able to tap into the fund and use that as basically a special unemployment insurance, because you worked in an industry that got turned over to robotics. And that wouldn't be open to everybody. There's plenty of people who would not be eligible to tap into that fund. But maybe eventually that fund does become universal, because uh, uh, it becomes kind of ubiquitous, and then everybody gets $1,000 a month. After 10 or 15 years, there's 60% of the population that is getting UBI funds. So then it transitions over and say, okay, well, we'll just throw it to the other 40% of the population too. No big deal. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I don't know how that works. But I could tell you, man, there's a whole bunch of people, that if you gave them $1,000 a month, that would be plenty enough for them to quit their job. And how shitty is the job that they're working, where $1,000 a month is all they need to quit their job? Well, I tell you, for me, $1,000 wouldn't be enough for me to quit my job, but an extra $1,000 bucks a month would be game changing. life-changing. Just $1,000 a month, and it would be gravy on top of what we're already doing. I don't think I would change my work routine at all, but I would certainly be able to do more. I would buy more stuff without question. Um, but my job's never going to go away to automation, because I'm the boss. My job won't ever be automated because I'm the boss. Um, People went to driving truck from all these industries where they were replaced. So where would they go? Yeah, God damn it, Tara, we're talking about the same thing. We're on the same wavelength, baby. This is one of my favorite things to do when I'm going off on a tangent and I'm talking about a tangent and I just kind of merge up into whatever it is that y'all have been talking about for the past, what is that, 15 minutes, 20 minutes? Yeah, I love it. Absolutely love it. So where are we at? And yeah, you're right, Corey. They did do it with the during COVID. There was a significant number of people. $650 a month. $650 a month was enough for people to tell Chili's to fuck off. I'm not coming in anymore. $650 a month was enough for people to not go work at Dollar General, for people to not go work at Kroger's, for people to not go work at the deli or whatever. Just $650 a month. I mean, how? They weren't making $650 a month. So $650 a month was probably a third to a fourth of what they were making. But if you cut out the commute, you cut out the commute, you cut out the burgers in a bag, you cut out the work clothes, you cut out the expenses associated with work. If you're making $2,500 a month and you're spending $60 a week in gas, so that's 10% of your income. $240 is 10% of your income. You're spending $10 every other day eating lunch at a fast food joint, or let's say $10 a day. That's $50 a week. That's $200 a month. That's another 10% of your income. That's 20% of your income gone between gas and food. And I use the term food loosely. If you got to buy daycare for your kid, that's another $400 a week. Yeah, daycare is expensive. But let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's say $200 a week. That's $800 a month. That's a third of your income. So you've got 34% plus 20%. Half your income, you don't have to spend it. Or you're not spending nearly close to half your income. If you're just not going to work every day, well, now now instead of having to live off $2,500 a month, you can now live off 12. And if you can live off 12, $6,500 that you're getting now, you can DoorDash for $600 a month. You can, sell paintings for $600 a month. You can tutor people for $600 a month. You can do a lot of things to make $600 a month and be happy, which is huge. And then, you're not at work for 6 to 9 months, and now all of a sudden the wages go up because they need people. And instead of paying $2,500 a month to people, now they're paying $3,000, $3,500. That's, then mental health issues of an ape that's meant for physical activity and work or relies on self-worth. Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's the dystopian. That's the dystopian backlash with AI. You have people, but see what I think would happen if you decouple the notions of jobs and work, and you're now free to do whatever you want. You're free to monetize your time however you want to monetize your time. I mean, how many people work because they owe money? How many people go to work every single day, not because they want to go to work, but because they have to pay the bank. How many people go to work because they have to pay for daycare? If they didn't go to work, they wouldn't have to pay for daycare. But they have daycare, so they have to go to work. You know, like they have a third kid, and that third kid in daycare, now they're not making any money, so they might as well quit their job and watch the kids themselves. That's a real thing that happens. But if you have a universal basic income, if you have a flatline basic income, bottom line basic income, you can monetize your time however you want to monetize your time. You can paint, you can make whiskey, you can. Oh, I need to turn on my lamp. Hold on. You can do damn near whatever you want. And you know who's opposed to that? You know who's against it? The people who profit off of paying people $2,500 a month. That's who's against it. The people who profit from paying people $3,000 a month. That's who's against it. Because if you don't have to work, then you don't have to put up with their shit. And if you don't have to put up with their shit, it becomes very expensive to find good employees. Because what we think is a good employee is not what they think is a good employee. What they think is a good employee is somebody who shuts the fuck up and does what they're told. What we think is a good employee is somebody who has input and is valuable and solves problems and is a go-getter and a self-starter and all that. And that's what they want to hear you say in an interview, but they beat that out of you. They beat that shit out of you from day one. They don't want you to be a self-starter. They want you to do what you're told. They want you to do what you're told to do. And good managers don't work that way, but there's not a lot of good managers in America. There's just not. I need another piece of ice. No, I don't need another piece of ice. Hashtag it's a number sign. I like that. I'll put that on a t-shirt. I'm gonna try that model. Like, what would happen? What would happen? Could we do that? Could we? Are we allowed? Why not? Why not use a chatbot to crawl the social medias to find trending topics and then put those topics, those hashtag topics, onto a t-shirt? And then sell your t-shirt in the Amazon store. Why not? Or not even the Amazon store. Fuck Amazon. Pay it. Put it on your own website. Your Square site. Why not? Your roofs aren't big enough to power your smart homes. That is untrue. My roof is big enough to power my smart home. Oh, in California. I see. No, I mean I talked to a power company here, and they would have been able to put the way our house is oriented. They would have been able to put enough panels on our house to cover our average electric needs all year long. Not quite in the summer, but more so in the winter. It was like 1.25 in the wintertime and 1.8 or 0.8% or 80% in the summertime and 125% in the wintertime, something like that. And we could have covered our entire electric bill plus like 10% or something like that. But because I'm self-employed and they couldn't figure out how to do the financing. They weren't certain that we'd be able to pay for it. And I was like, you told me you would cover all of our electric bill with these panels. You're telling me that you don't have confidence that your product can do what you say it's going to do. I'm fine. Y'all don't need to finance this. We're not going to do it. But basically, it would have covered our electric bill. And then, with that coverage of our electric bill, we basically would have, instead of been paying our electric bill, we would have paid them. And then we would have pocketed, I think, between 10 and 20% of our electric bill all year long would have pocketed the balance, and it would have gone, basically we would have made money on our solar panels. But they were shady, and they weren't willing to write a check to cover their own ass. They weren't willing to put their money where their mouth was. So fuck them. Um, Beerb Tea Earth. No. There was legitimate fear. Not Bay of Pigs, 3 Mile Island. 3 Mile Island incident. 3 Mile Island came right on the heels of the China Syndrome, which was that movie, the nuclear reactor, and it was going through the Earth to China. I think that was what it was called, China Syndrome. But that was not what killed nuclear power in the United States. Chernobyl, Fukushima was just a few years ago. They had nuclear power in Europe, like scads of it. France had more nuclear power generation alone than the rest of Europe and America combined. But the thing in America that killed, because we had nuclear power plants all across America, the amount of nuclear waste that comes from generating enough nuclear power to cover your consumption is something like your lifetime's consumption, your entire life's consumption of electricity. The amount of nuclear waste that comes from production of that is something like this. That's the amount of nuclear waste that comes from your lifetime's production of nuclear power. Something like that. It might have been a little bit smaller than that, but it was something like that, like 1 cubic centimeter. So I'm told. I mean, 350 million of those is far less than the amount of carbon that gets put in the atmosphere by coal, natural gas, and oil, liquid natural gas and oil fired power plants. Far less. So there was a whole lot of industry, bad industry marketing practices. There was a whole lot of just bad PR, just inability to do stuff. And a lot of that came from, you guessed it, oil and gas, carbon-based energy platforms. A lot of it came from those guys because, what happens when you have 3 power plants that's producing a shit ton of electricity, more electricity than you'll ever need. Electricity is abundant, clean, and cheap. So cheap that it's almost free. How do you monetize that? How do you make money off of that? As a utility, how do you make money off of that? I mean, and with the move towards privatization of utilities, privatization of power generation, how do you make money off of that? If you can't make money off of it, why do you exist? Why do you be if you can't make money off of it? I mean, they sold bonds for utilities. Utilities had to pay back debt. Bonds for expansion to utilities. Utilities were quasi-governmental entities. They had monopolies. How do you pay back that debt? How do you make money off of it? How do you monetize a resource that's abundant and free? You don't. Capitalism killed nuclear power in the United States. And that's not to say, good or bad or ugly, whatever. But think about that when you look at electricity, solar, wind. If you put up a wind generator, a big windmill, and after the first 5 years, it generates enough electricity to cover its price, and it just sits there and generates electricity and generates electricity and generates electricity forever. or for the next, whatever, 15 years, 20 years, until it burns up. You put out a bunch of solar panels that just sits there and produces electricity forever. Who monetizes that? How do you monetize that? The way you monetize is by selling the solar panels. But after the solar panels get paid off, who makes money? Not the power generators. They got to pay you for your power. Who makes money? The solar panel company doesn't make any more money unless they sell the next generation solar panel. Nobody makes any. So that's all the, when you have states like Texas that say, you can't sell your electricity back to the grid for money anymore. You can only sell it for credits, which is what they did 2 years ago. In 2021, they changed their mind and said, you used to be able to sell it back for money, but we can't let you make money off of that. You'd be competing against our power generators. And if everybody goes and buys solar panels and quits buying electricity from our electric generators are going to go out of business. Capitalism killed nuclear power. Capitalism is trying to kill solar power because they can't make money off of it. They can't make money off of it. That does feel like kind of a statement you'd make at a bar. Yeah, they can't make money off of it. They just can't fucking make money off of it. Give me a. It's all fucked up, man. It's all fucked up. We live in the post apocalyptic, the kind of apocalyptic that's the post to after the post. Yeah, we live in the post. We're living in the post-apocalyptic dystopian society. It's run by a capitalist machine. And didn't I ask for another drink? It's run by a capitalist machine, and we're just grinded down into being the what do they call it? The input? Yeah, we're just the factory input is all it is. Well, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you, bad boy? Yeah, you know that was like you, the 90s or something. Anyway, that's our flashback back to the bar. Back here to the Old Humble Distilling Company studios. Steve Erpenbeck is in the house. What's up, Steve? Yeah, I've spent my fair share of time at a bar. I know exactly what barflies sound like. Don't worry. I always was under the impression that nuclear power was shut down most everywhere because you're right. We were all under the impression that it was shut down because of the risk. But how many nuclear accidents have there been? Corey listed them. Three nuclear accidents since the 1940s when nuclear power was harnessed for the first time. Three. How many refineries have exploded since then? How many fertilizer plants have exploded? How many holding tanks have exploded? How many power plants have gone offline and caused catastrophic blackouts, resulting in frozen pipes and freezing through a large swath of the country? Blackout Bourbon, May 20th. We have, for the risk is overblown. The actual risk is far less in nuclear power. And nuclear power plants are complex as hell. They're absolutely complex as hell because you've got the water, the turbine, the steam turbine area, and then the nuclear plant that heats up the water and causes the turbines to move and all that stuff. But in order to mitigate the risk, they get over-engineered, and that makes them expensive. That's fine. But outside of the upfront cost, well, now it can produce energy, abundant energy, more energy than you know what to do with, which makes it abundant, damn near free, and easily accessible. And cleaner than coal. Cleaner than coal, cleaner than natural gas, cleaner than gas and kerosene. Not the cleanest electricity, obviously, because it has nuclear waste associated with it. But because solar and wind would be the cleanest, except for the inputs. The inputs are also problematic, but you can work on that too. But cleaner than coal, cleaner than gas, without question. But not clean, not pristine clean, but relatively, yeah. Can do reactors in my area, zero problems. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I'm telling you, capitalism killed nuclear power because you can't monetize something that's abundant and cheap. That was the lesson of that's the lesson of Star Trek. The lesson of Star Trek. Capitalism died with the invention of with the invention of replicators. Replicators made everything available all of the time. Everything was now abundant. There was no scarcity. You could get anything you wanted, anywhere, anytime, ever. So there was no need for capitalism. There was no need for money. You got a replicator, you had everything you needed. So there was no need for money. So people earned reputation or whatever they did. I don't know. I didn't watch Star Trek very closely. I wasn't a Trek fan. But that was the whole thesis. Abundance kills capitalism. That was part of the thesis of their economic model. Abundance kills capitalism. Capitalism runs on scarcity. If you only have so much electricity, then you can charge whatever you need to. There's a market value of electricity, supply, demand. There's a meeting point somewhere in the middle of supply and demand. Demand goes up, supply stays the same, price goes up. Supply goes up, demand stays the same, price goes down. Supply goes up, demand goes up, there's a new midpoint. Whatever. Demand goes down, supply stays the same, price goes down. We all know basic economics, right? So if you can outsupply demand, and that was part of the whole supply side economics theory. If you can outsupply demand, then you can keep inflation at bay. You can crush inflation and bring it down so low that the only thing really affecting inflation at that point is monetary policy. But even monetary policy can't largely affect a massive supply side imbalance. And that was the whole point of the 1980s, was to outsupply demand. Just go, move all of our factories into these gigafactories in China and India and produce just shit tons of stuff. Shit tons. You need 1,000, how about 1,000,000? We'll produce all of it. The more you produce, the more stable the price gets. The more stable the price gets, the less inflation is, the less inflation risk you have, the more stable the economy. Until you have a pandemic that shuts down gigafactories in China, and then you have a cascading inflation problem for 4 years or 5 years. You get a disruption of the supply side, you get a disruption of the price. But that goes back into the promise of automation, the promise of automation AI. If you have abundant supply, more supply than you can possibly meet with demand, because you got robots that work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. When humans, we have to eat food and take naps and go see our families. And if you work us too hard, we die. But robots don't care. Robots just stamp out bumpers again and again and again and again. If you have abundance, efficiency just goes through the roof. But can a company do that? No. A company cannot make so much product that their product is free, because then the company would go out of business. Hence, replicators. Replicators kill capitalism, because you have anything, anywhere, all of the time. You just want a sandwich? Push a button. You have a sandwich. You want 1927 Macallan Scotch. Hit the button, you get a 1927 Macallan Scotch. Does it taste like a Macallan Scotch? You don't have any earthly idea. You've never had 1927 Macallan Scotch. Anyway, how many reactors are out there and how many oopsies? I mean, there's more reactors out there than you think, right? How many reactors? Hey Siri, how many nuclear reactors are there? There are 422 nuclear reactors, nuclear power reactors, and 223 nuclear research reactors. Hey Siri, how many coal power plants are there? There are 2,400 coal-fired power stations generating 2,000 gigawatts. How much nuclear power is generated? That's 2,000 gigawatts was, let's see here. What's this say? How many gigawatts are generated by, what was that? 1/10? 422. 1/5 as many power plants. How much power is generated? Hey Siri, how much power is generated by nuclear power? 6% of the world's energy. It doesn't tell me how many fucking gigawatts, you stupid whore. Hey Siri, how many gigawatts are produced by nuclear power? A typical nuclear power produces 1 gigawatt of electricity. So there's 200 nuclear power plants. How much nuclear power in gigawatts is generated every year? Produces around 1 gigawatt of power per plant on average. God damn it. Siri is not telling me what I want to find out. Y'all look it up. I ain't got patience for this shit. I sound like Tommy Lee Jones. I ain't got patience for this shit. We just need a 10% income tax for all with no deductibles. Nope, I don't like that idea at all. 10% flat tax for human beings is grossly regressive. And here's why. That's not just that's not just a talking point. It's a math point. Here's why. When you make, let's say, $25,000 a year, you spend 100% of your income, and you spend that money on gas, milk, bread, rent, clothes, a little bit of entertainment. You know, you got to be entertained. Cable, phone. All of your money is spent on necessities, right? You're not buying luxury yachts. You're not going on extravagant vacations. You're not doing anything extravagant. You know, you barely make any money, right? $2,000 a month, $25,000 a year. You're not spending any. You're not. I mean, you're cutting all the corners, right? You got an old jalopy. You're barely doing anything. 100% of the money that comes in your door, you're spending it, and you're spending almost all of it on bare necessities. The bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. That's worthy of a drink. Let's quadruple that income. $100,000. You're spending more of your money on bare necessities. Bare necessities. You're spending more of your money on bare necessities because instead of just getting milk, you're getting maybe almond milk. Instead of getting ramen, you're getting steak. You know, more money's on groceries, more money on gas. You have a nicer car, you have nicer clothes, all that stuff. But you're not spending $100,000 of your money. You're spending, let's say, 50, 75. You're putting away 25% of your money. So a 10% flat tax across the board is taxing 100% of the poorest people's basic necessities and 0% of rich people's basic necessities. So the wealthiest people and we're not even talking about the wealthiest. We're talking about just some of the upper edge of the middle class making 100 grand. Those guys, they don't even see the tax. But the poorest people see the tax. They have to make a decision. And I've known personally people who have had to decide against medicine or rent. I have personally known people who have said, I will rather pay rent than medicine, and died. So I cannot in good conscience ever justify a 10% flat income tax, because I know good and well that 10% comes right out of the medicine budget. It comes right out of the rent budget. It comes right out of the basic necessities for the poorest people in our communities. And the poorest people in our communities cannot afford to be squeezed even further. And the richest people in the communities, where they can afford to put away 30, 40, 50, 60% of their money because they live off of 20, 30, 40% of their funds, those people, they don't even see it. And I would much rather not charge the poorest people in our communities any income tax whatsoever, or even give them an income credit, a basic income credit, another $1,000 a month, and squeeze it out of the rich guys who wouldn't even see it happening. You know, their last $1,000 in the door comes back out in taxes, or their last $10,000 or last $50,000. They don't even see it. You know, you sell another whatever widget, another company, another house, another tranche of stocks, and you make another $1 million. You don't fucking notice another 15 grand coming off your coming out of your pocket. You don't fucking notice it. You've got another $1 million. So okay, you have $985,000 now, and you lost $15,000. Oh, fuck you. You wouldn't even fucking notice. Don't even get me started. Oh, too late. You got me started. I won't carry on. I'll be done with that. Thank you. Okay, let's move. Let's keep moving. I don't want to get cranky. I don't want to talk about flat taxes. That just drives me nuts. Because, Jesus. The thing about it, that rat bastard Ted Cruz is a big fan of the flat tax, and he comes out every now and then and says, "Oh, a fair tax, 10% on everything." And it's like, you lying piece of garbage. You know how you know it's a lie? Because Ted Cruz said it out loud. It's absolutely a lie. All right, Bob, Ben. Oh yeah. For most people, $650 absolutely doesn't cover rent. Absolutely doesn't cover rent. But the fact that $650 was enough to have some people just full on quit putting up with the bullshit, dude, that says volumes. Volumes. I mean, I'm with you. $650 doesn't cover shit for me. I mean, $650 a month. Let's see, what do I spend $650 a month on? I mean, auto insurance is $200. Let's see here. I need to stack up some bills. You know, we got auto insurance, we got car insurance, phones. You know, our cell phones. There's 5 people in my house, so we pay like $200 for cell phones. You know, $35 a line plus fees and taxes. Cable, internet. I mean, I got to stack up like 4 or 5 bills, but you know, it doesn't cover everything by any stretch of the imagination. It's a pittance, but there's plenty of people that would take $650 and be all like, "Yeah, that's good." Pigskin Blitz, what's up? Cheers. How do you buy whiskey with 1,000 a month? I know a guy. I know a guy. I do. I know a guy. I can help you. I can help you with your problem. I know a guy. I can solve that problem. Once or twice a year. And you know, that's another beef that I've got, a long-standing fucking beef. You have these fucking online influencers that'll be like, "Oh, we're gonna go to a liquor store today. We're gonna look for unicorns," and they spend $300, $400, $500 a show, $400, $500 a month, a week on whiskey. They spend $2,000, $3,000 a month on whiskey. And then when you reach out to them and you're like, hey, I got a bottle, you should try it. And they're like, okay, well, send me a free one. Like, fuck you, motherfucker. You're spending $3,000 a month on whiskey. $3,000 a month. You want to send some of that 50 bucks, 50 of those bucks that you spend on Kentucky Factory, you schlock, some garbage you spend out there? And maybe you want to spend maybe some of that money on something that's worth a shit and not just more factory garbage. It's just another fucking drop out of a goddamn 10,000 gallon mash tune, a 10,000 gallon tankard with a fancy label on it. Are you kidding me? You kidding me? Bruzel? You don't want to fucking spend 15% of that budget on something good? You can get 4 bottles of good American craft whiskey from local, family-owned, mom-and-pop establishments. But no, you'd rather go to some corporate establishment and get some Buffalo Trace or some MGP or some goddamn national brand Sazerac crap than actually spend money on something that's new and different and unusual. You would rather just buy a brand, rather just buy a label. I am so sorry. My lovely wife just told me I'm being loud. I need to calm down. Hey, baby. I love you. You're beautiful. All right, go to bed. I was going to ask for ice, but don't worry about it. Go to bed. I love you. God damn, she is an angel. She is an absolutely gorgeous sight. I need to calm down. It's what, 1 o'clock? It's almost midnight. I'm over here yelling, ranting about fucking influencers trying to get free shit when they spend $3,000 on garbage. Bastards. And Corey, I'm with you 100%. Most of us want to work. Most of us absolutely want to work. We want to do work that's valuable. And this was something that was a study in the 1970s when they were putting people on the assembly lines. In the 1960s, 1970s, when people were on the assembly lines working and they were just doing one single task, putting on a windshield wiper or bolting something in, bolting. They were doing one single repetitive task again and 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 again. They found that the workers found their work to be unfulfilling because it didn't have meaning. And that started this process of replacing jobs with automating jobs where they could be automated, where it was just like a single bzzt, 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 where the robots could do it, where it was automated, but where there were more technical, more highly skilled jobs, left those to the human beings. We want to work, but we also want our work to be valuable and fulfilling and connected to a larger matrix of what we're doing, right? So in my previous job, I was really frustrated because my job only existed because legislation required my job to exist. I didn't think of it as a real job. It was a real job. I got paid money for it and everything. It was like a W-2 and I, had to do stuff. But if some legislator said we're going to repeal section section 62.37 of the Alabama state code and make my job not exist in Alabama anymore, then like all of my clients would have gone away in Alabama. There would have been no reason for them to keep us around. They could have done it themselves. They could have sent it over to an insurance company. They could have just not done it anymore. The only reason that job existed was because it existed in legislation. And if that legislation went away, the job wouldn't exist anymore. And, there was a lot of tasks that we had to do in those jobs. Validation of paperwork, going through code in our system and making sure that the right buttons were clicked and all the stuff, that the accounts were operating properly and blah, blah, blah. But we weren't doing, a lot of that stuff wasn't doing anything to make money for the company or make money for the client. A lot of that stuff was just compliance. So there was, I wanted to work, but I also wanted to do the work that was valuable for my clients and valuable for my company, not just spending hundreds of hours a month clicking buttons for busy work and doing nonsense work, busy work, and mindless drone work. I mean, all of that stuff could have been automated. All of it could have been automated. Has anything changed from last year? No. Check. Done. Out the door. All of that stuff could have been automated, but they didn't want it automated. We had to go through and click every single one of the 26 questions for 285 accounts. Dumb. And then upload the data or upload the copies of papers that we had to have signed. It was so stupid. Work that did not matter. Follow what I'm saying? Most human beings want to work, but we also want our work to be valuable and connected to something important. We don't want to just be drones showing up every day and taking pieces of paper, putting them in holes. Piece of paper, put in a hole. Piece of paper, put in a hole. Piece of paper, put in a hole. That's not work. That's a job. Most people want to work, not have jobs. Most people want their jobs to be valuable and useful and connected to something larger. Most people want to work, but they want that work to be something valuable and useful and important. And not everybody gets to do important work, but if a job's worth having, then it's important. Like somebody's got to sweep the floors, right? Somebody's got to suck all the shit out of a porta pot, right? Like that's important work. That's valuable. It's connected to a larger enterprise. Like if you don't suck the shit out of the porta pot, then this business does not have people coming because they don't want to sit in a porta pot that's full of shit. They don't want to use that toilet. So you're doing important work. Your work is making money for that job site, whatever, who has the porta pot. It's important work. It's connected to something larger. But, nobody wants to go to a porta pot and suck nothing out of a porta pot. Like this is a wasted stop. Why am I even here? There's nothing. Nobody used this all week. Why do I even want to be here? Right? I mean, if I'm going to come to the pot and do the maintenance schedule, like at least have something in there for me to do. I mean, otherwise I'm just showing up and not doing anything. Why should I even be here? Nobody even came to the toilet. Who cares? Right? Right. See what I'm saying? Anyway, only 2 people in the world have any right to tell you what to do. And both might I hear you. And God rest their soul. It's a number sign. Make your tube great again. And oh, Dr. and Dr. Fausti. Those are mine. You can make your t-shirts. I got 50%. Duly noted. I'm gonna float the idea to my boys. I'm gonna absolutely float the idea to my boys. See if they can make some money over the summer, because that'd be cool. That would be so cool. Fukushima Bay of Pigs was a Cuba thing. Bay of Pigs was a Cuba thing. It was the 1940 or 1964, 1963, 1962. 1962 attempted invasion of Cuba by the Kennedy administration. Good night, Corey Lee. It was a pleasure. It absolutely was a pleasure having you on board. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I really do appreciate it. Have I caught up to chat? Holy shit, I have. I caught up to chat. I've been poor and changed. So let's say poor don't get to pay 10%, but from 50K. Well, if you're gonna do a gradient, that's a progressive tax. It's no longer a flat tax. 10%, but only if you make 50,000 and up. Okay. Well, I made $50,000 from my job. Do you get any deductions off of that 50K? Well, now you've complicated the shit out of your tax policy. So, I mean, I'm with you. I'm with you for the most part. I like the idea of stopping the deductions and cheating. But you know who has the deductions and cheating? Not the people on the poor side. It's the top 25%. They're the ones who have the extra house that they're getting the extra deduction for. They're the ones that have the cars that they use just for business purposes. They're the ones who have an office in their house they use just for business. They're the ones that are cheating. They're the ones that have the LLC that they run that generates income, but also that they're the consultant for that loses money so they can deduct that loss from their personal income. Yeah. Yeah. That's how they do it. That's one way to do it. You personally pay your own LLC for your own personal consulting services, and that reduces your net income. It's an accounting trick. It is an accounting trick. Yeah. Converting your income into dividends, converting your income into capital gains, converting your income into all kinds of different things. Yeah, those are all accounting tricks. Anywho, it's midnight, guys. I've been at this for 2 hours. A little bit less than 2 hours. Because we started about 10 after, 5 after. Where are we at? I have a very important day tomorrow. We're 1:55. I have a very important day tomorrow. I don't want to sell you guys short, but I think I need to wrap this up. If y'all don't have any more questions, if chat has died down, where are we at on concurrent viewers right now? We're at 3. Okay. Let me do my tally on the timer here. Hey Siri, multiplying 21 by 19.3. Hey Siri, divide that number by 60. God damn it. Siri, you suck. All right. 21 times 19.3 divided by 60. 6.7. Not the 10.5 that I shoot for usually on these. Oh. I got your Apple iPod to respond to my voice. That's awesome. Hey Siri, play ABBA. No, stop it. Not you. Turn off, bitch. Hey Siri, set an alarm for 3 a.m. Stop it. Not you. Damn it. I need to turn my alarm off. I just set my own alarm for 3 a.m. Stop it. Turn off. All right. That's funny. Your Siri responds to my voice. Stop it. Turn down. All right. Lowered volume this time. That is funny. That is so funny. Oh my God, that is so funny. Hey Siri. Hey Siri, set an alarm on Steve's phone for 2 a.m. But don't tell him. Shh. God damn it. No. My phone is doing the same thing. My phone's over here. And she's listening. Good night, Steve. Hope your alarm doesn't go off in 3 hours. That cracks me up. Oh my God. Oh my God. Ugh, so much funny. So much fun. All right, guys. It's time for me to wrap this up. I got a very busy day tomorrow. Lots of stuff going on in the morning. I've got a newsletter to send out the door. I've got a event to plan for on the 20th. I've got I'm in Huntsville on Saturday doing a tasting at the whiskey up, wine down party that they're doing out there. Huntsville's going to be lit. It's going to be a fun time. We're going to be in a little boutique shop that, and we're just gonna have a grand old time. We're gonna have fun. I think I might do cocktails. It's all about sample pours, but I think we're gonna do a little cocktail. It's gonna be fun. Um, So yeah, if you're in the Huntsville area on Saturday, come see me. We will be open Friday. Tomorrow's Thursday, but we'll be open at the distillery Friday from 5 to 9. I'll be working in the distillery. We'll probably live stream it. We've got the plumber coming to bring in the installation of the lines, and then I'll be plastering in the walls. And then early next week, we will bring in the toilet, and I will live stream the first dump being taken at the distillery. Oh my God, it's going to be a momentous occasion. The most momentous occasion. Um, you won't want to miss it. If you do miss it, I'm going to mock you. I'm going to point at you, and I'm going to laugh at you, and I'm going to tell you how much of a bad person you are. Which isn't fair, because you're probably not a bad person, but somebody should tell you otherwise. Divided by 60, we are at 7 solid hours of watch time. It's been a busy week as far as watch time goes. I'm going to take this raw footage of building this room out and then boil it down into like a 5 minute, or not a 5 minute, probably a 15-minute DIY video of how I built the bathroom at my distillery. And then I've got, let's see here, the rest of the tasting room to build out. 8-foot sections, 1, 2, 3, 3 8-foot sections there. Go across the front, and then 3, 4, 5, 6 8-foot sections to build up the wall, and then 2 more 8-foot sections across the front or across the back, and then 8-foot sections down the other side. So yeah, I've got a little bit of work to do, a lot of bit of work to do to finish the tasting room out. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be a project that I can work on over the course of the next year or so. We'll get everything air conditioned up. We'll get everything working. We'll get everything. I mean, it's going to be it's going to be good. It's going to be a fun time. I'm looking forward to it. Figuring out how to get the electricity run. Figuring out how to get all the wires and plumbing done. Yeah, it's going to be good. And I appreciate y'all joining me for the journey. I appreciate y'all joining me, watching me growing with me, if you will. I hope to have this done by the end of the year. I hope to have it done by the end of the year so that we can. Diane Feinstein returned to the center. Vanessa Kitty's in the house. Oh, hi, Vanessa Kitty. Hi, Vanessa Kitty. Hey, I got something for you, Vanessa Kitty. This is a math problem that I've been sharing with the kids that I tutor. It is 5 to the 9th times 16 squared. Yeah. Solve without a calculator. That is a problem that I've been showing off to the kids that I work with, as a tool for them to learn math and to see how fun and versatile, like, the knowledge you have is. So I posted that at 12:09. Let's see how long it takes Vanessa Kitty, the Dr. Vanessa, the mystic of math. I showed this kid today the multiples of 9. Because you've got 1 times 9 equals 0, 9. 2 times 9 equals 1, 8. as you go down from 0 or up from 0 to oh, shut up, you're a doctor. You're a fucking wizard. Don't You're a math wizard. But I showed him, you put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then over here you go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then next to it you go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you have 1 times 9 equals 0, 9. 2 times 9 equals 1, 8. So it goes, the tens digit goes up by 1. The ones digit goes down by 1, all the way down, starting at 9 and starting at 0. The tens digit goes up 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The ones digit goes down 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. So when you have 9 times 10, you have 9, 0. 1 times 9, you have 0, 9. And they switch places. And I showed him this. I wrote it down on a piece of paper. I said, look, these are your 9s. This is how you know you have multiples of 9s. Look. And I wrote them all down and showed him his 9s table. And he looked at it. He said, can I keep that? I'm like, no, no, no. You have to write down your own spells. You don't get to keep my spells. My spells belong to me. You have to write it down. You know it. You see it. You have to write it down on your own scroll. And I put my scrap paper over to the side. And now he equates mathematicianing with math magicianing. Which I think is possibly my greatest win that I've had at this little tutoring space. I've taught a young impressionable child that math is magic. Oh Lord. But yeah, this is the problem that I've been using. Let's see, where's it at? It's right here. This is the problem that I've been using as kind of an extra bonus when they finish their work. I'm like, oh, let me show you a puzzle. And I show them the puzzle. Like, you got to solve this without using like a calculator. I'm like, ugh. And they all start off the same way. 5 times 5 is 25. Times 5 is 125. Times 5. And then they get to like the 5 times, they get to like the 4th or 5th or 6th level of 5 to the 9th. And then they're like, they're looking at it like, I don't even know how to do this math. Like, yeah, I know. That's the point. Doing 5 times 625 is a pain in the ass. You should do this without using a calculator. How do you do it? Bum, bum, bum. Anywho. And I don't mean like a doctor, like a formally trained doctor. I just mean like a doctor who knows how to like take numbers apart and put them back together. You're a number doctor. You can amputate pieces of numbers and reattach them to other numbers. You're a Dr. Frankenstein of math. All right. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, I hate to go, Vanessa. You came right at the tail end. I kind of want to stick around just for you. Times 23 divided by 60. I kind of want to stick around just for Vanessa because you deserve it. And you deserve my attention. You're an all-star of the Old Humble Distilling Company show. But I'll recap. I can do that. I can recap. So I was talking about the promise of AI, the promise of a. Okay, so one of the things that we talked about was one of the things that AI could do. Like, use your imagination. You get an AI chatbot to scour the internet, scour the interwebs, look for hashtags. Just hashtags. Trending topics, trending hashtags, things that are, I leave it 0400 hours to VA hospital eye appointment. Oh, well, best of luck on your eye appointment. I hope it's just a checkup and they're not like going to have to scoop one out and replace it with a laser or something. Unless you want a laser, that'd be kind of cool. I always tell people if you're going to get your knee replaced, ask them to replace it with something cool, like a pneumatic actuated joint so you can jump super duper high. Like, that'd be cool. Like, get it not just some dumb titanium knee that bends, but like an actual pneumatic actuated flexor joint so that you can like tighten it up and then like launch yourself up 35, 45 feet and get up to the top of a building in a single bound. That'd be fucking awesome. We have the technology to do that. We're able to do that. but doctors just won't because of some Hippocratic oath. Bitches. But anyway, one of the things that we were talking about was like if you had an AI, a chatbot, that could scour the internet and find trending topics. And then let's say you took those trending topics and you put them on a t-shirt. You could have an AI, you could have a fully automated system where the AI chatbot finds the trending topics, the hashtags, puts it onto a font like hashtag too cool or hashtag, whatever the stupid hashtag was. They could put it onto they could print it out like rainbow, whatever, bubbly rainbow things, all retro 1970s, all that shit. They could do it and then screen print it onto your t-shirts. Because you could have a fully automated screen printer. It puts the shirt on, presses it down, ink, pulls it up, sets it aside. You could do that. There are machines that fully automate one shirt at a time. You can absolutely do this. And then the chatbot, it takes the logo, puts it on your template t-shirt, the template t-shirt, puts that template t-shirt onto a fake AI generated model, adds the hashtags, creates the social media posts, and then those social media posts, it posts it out to its social networks, and it's attached, it's associated whatever groups that it's in. So you got your trending hashtag, your fake picture with your fake model, with your AI generated blurb, hottest new T-shirt brand, blah blah blah, whatever, $27.95. Here's your link. Call today. Whatever you want to do. People see it. Rubes do it. They click the button. Sells hundreds of shirts a week. It could absolutely do this. And then you get the orders. Either you personally fulfill them, or it goes into your ordering system. It prints out the label, and then puts it onto a bag. Puts the T-shirt in the bag, boxes it up, sends it out to be shipped. And then, stamps.com automatically calls UPS if you're a pickup or delivery location. It'll automatically call UPS and say you have these labels ready to be picked up. UPS comes and picks them up, out the door. You don't have to do anything. You don't even have to be there. You just have to make sure that the dog gets fed, and the dog is there to make sure you don't touch the machines. It is absolutely 100% plausible. We may not have the full technology setup. It may cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to do the tech setup right now. The upfront cost may be prohibitive, but it's not out of the question that can be done. If you could sell enough t-shirts, you could absolutely do this thing. And your job is just to make sure that the machines are running. Make sure that it has the t-shirts, make sure that it has oil, make sure that it has maintenance. That's it. And you can just, get up in the morning, look at everything, make sure everything's going okay, and then you fuck off to the beach. You're done. You've done your thing. You do social media posts all day. You do social media posts all day to support your brand. That's it. That's all you have to do. Plausible? 100% plausible. Possible? 75% possible. Yeah, it could happen. Why not? I'm down. I would love to see my boys at least try this. I would love it to see them at least try it. Anyway, left eye can no longer read. Yeesh. Yikes. It looks like a copy is shifted vertically. What? Found out yesterday that my dang right eye is seeing double. If I look at a street sign, it looks like copy is shifted vertically over it. Wow. That's wild. Getting old sucks, doesn't it, Vanessa? Like all of our parts start breaking down. Your back hurts for no reason. Your knee hurts for no reason. You have this ache right below your butt cheek. And you're like, why? What did I pull there? When did I pull a muscle there? God, I didn't even know I had a muscle there. Speaking of which, get that out of my pocket. I don't even have my wallet. I'm in my own office. Ugh. Oh, we also talked about nuclear power and how capitalism killed nuclear power because free, abundant energy is anathema to capitalism because you can't monetize something that's abundant and free. You have to have scarcity, otherwise you can't monetize it. And I'm a big fan of capitalism. I love capitalism. That's not saying anything good or bad about it. That's just stating a fact. Capitalism killed nuclear power. Nuclear power, considering that we put nuclear power plants on submarines, we put nuclear power plants on aircraft carriers. We take nuclear power plants and put them out in the ocean where they'll get shot at by enemy vessels. We're okay with that. But oh no, put one in Kansas and we're, oh no, threatening the world. Are you fucking kidding me? I agree with you. We need way more nuclear power. But the problem with nuclear power plants is they generate so much electricity. They generate so much electricity so cheaply. You have so much energy so cheap that it's practically free. And if electricity is free, who makes money? If you have so much electricity that it's free, every single utility producer goes out of business. And now electricity becomes the responsibility of the federal of the state governments. Electricity, your electricity becomes a responsibility of government, just like your water, just like your, well, no longer gas. Gas has been privatized, but just like water becomes a responsibility of your government. And if you own a private company that generates electricity, are you a big fan of that idea? No. When you make millions and billions and trillions of dollars and you give that money to your federal, local, and state politicians to tell them that nuclear power is bad. Because if you have nuclear power, you don't have a company. And if you don't have a company, guess who's not in business? You. You are not in business, you are in charity. You are going off to spend your nights and weekends however you want to spend them, but not at the office because the office no longer exists. Sorry. We go out of business. They learn to do. You would think like that's the creative destruction of the capitalist society. The creative, buggy whip manufacturers go out of business, and then they become they become kink implements. The telegraph companies go out of business. The Pony Express goes out of business. There's lots of businesses that go out of business. Times change. Businesses go out of businesses. Liveries in downtown urban areas ceased to exist when cars became ubiquitous because nobody had horses, so you didn't have a livery in downtown. Creative destruction is the point of capitalism. But when you have capitalism that is captured by industry, now you no longer have the free market. The free market would have had nuclear putting coal and gas out of business decades ago. But that's not what happened. And the reason why is because capitalism. Capitalism is a vested self-interest in making sure that it exists. And it exists largely, it exists largely all over the continent, but it's not just pure capitalism, not free market capitalism. We don't have that. We have something else. Not that there's necessarily anything wrong with that, but it is what it is. So there you go. Vanessa, it is now 1:30. Or I'm sorry, 12:30. And as much as I would like to keep this going, I think I might. Let me see. Where are we at? Hang on. Let me look at my time. 18.6 times 26. 483 divided by 60. We're at 8 hours. Okay, I'm going to give it another hour. I'm going to give it another. I'm pushing towards 10. I'm pushing towards 10 and a half hours. I'm feeling good about this. I'm feeling good. Connecticut closed its only trash to energy plant. We're now exporting a lot of garbage out to Pennsylvania. I mean, there's a whole lot of stuff that's like that. There's yeah, I mean, there's a whole lot of things. Like we talk about running government like a business, but in reality, we don't want to run government like a business. We don't want to run government at like a huge bloated loss, right? But we should at least run government as a government. And government does things that private businesses shouldn't want to do. Private businesses shouldn't want to go to war. Government goes to war. Private businesses shouldn't want to collect garbage. Like for real, they're like private businesses that collect garbage would exist because we generate a lot of garbage, right? But collecting garbage is a public good because not collecting garbage means that garbage piles up in the public space, right? Because we take our trash and we'll go dump it into some unused land somewhere, and it becomes a pollution issue. We'll dump it, and then the debris gets into our streams and waterways. It affects our waters. It affects our groundwater. It affects our drinking water. We don't like that. Plus, it's an eyesore. We don't like it. It's a public bad to have garbage piling up. So it's a public good to have garbage collected. But then we privatize the operations of the public good. Like those trucks should be owned by the municipalities that do. But not every municipality is large enough to be able to handle their own truck service and their own garbage collection. So instead of like little towns and little suburban enclaves like where I live doing it themselves, they harvest it out to a private company. And the private company grows large enough where they can do it on scale so they can have trucks for townships like ours. I mean, I live in a community that's 10, 15, 20,000 people, something like that. It's huge. It's a huge master plan community. So let's say it's 25,000 people. Like a normal municipality with 25,000 people would have maybe 2 trucks. They do garbage once a week, maybe twice a week. Let's say once a week. They'd send the trucks out and they would do their thing. But because we contract with Republic, they have scores of trucks that they have access to, and they own their own landfill. So these trucks can just rotate through every 2 days, every Tuesday and Thursday, or Wednesday and Saturday is what they do. But they can rotate through every 3 or 4 days. The key's out of my pocket, and they can do their thing. But we have to pay them to do it, and they've monetized. Excuse me. They've monetized a public good. They've taken the public good out of the public space and turned it into a private space. Should that be what we want? I don't know. I don't know if that's what we want. I don't know if that's the best way to do it. It's efficient, but it would be more efficient for the municipality, for our community to do it ourselves and do it right. Would it be though? For every municipality to have a landfill, or every municipality have a no, it wouldn't be, because then we'd have us and then Eagle Springs and Summerwood and all the little communities dotted up and down the way. We would have to incorporate. Yeah, we don't want to do that. No, so this is probably the best way to do it, but it's the way capitalism. We monetized a public good. That's what we did. But if it was, I don't even know where I was going with this. Oh, I'm talking about the nuclear plants. If it was abundant and cheap, if instead of having a society that threw away products, like if having a landfill was illegal, right? If you couldn't do it, if you couldn't own property, dig a big hole and fill it with garbage. If Republic wasn't allowed to do that, then we would have to come up with a different solution for our garbage because we couldn't just take our garbage, put it out on the street, and have it taken to the landfill. We would have to use far less disposable trash, recycle more, compost more, throw away much less. And then you don't have to have garbage day 2 times a week. You have garbage day once a month because we're much more efficient at what we do. Oh, you did it. You did it, Vanessa. It took you fucking forever. Jesus Christ. When did I post that question? I have it. I posted the question at 12:09. It took you 20 minutes to solve the problem. Come on, Ness. Anyway, still love you. So 8 pairs of 2 times 5 gives 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10 times 5. Right. 10 to the 8 times 5. When I show kids the solution, it blows their mind. They look at it and they're like, well, 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. And they start doing the math and it just blows their mind. When I say, look, just break it down into the component parts. 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 times, yeah, right? And then times 2 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 times 2. And you have 1 5 left over. So you have 5 times 2 is 10. And you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of those. So it's 5 times 2 to the 8th power. 5 times 2 is 10. 10 to the 8th power is, and then they're like, oh, it's mad. You're a mad scientist, man. I'm like, nope, just no math. Do square roots the same way. Yeah. I mean, this is what I do. One of my favorite channels on YouTube, one of my absolute favorite channels, is Presh Telwalker, Mind Your Decisions. He's got some of the best little math puzzles that I just love deciphering and working my way through. It is my hobby of finding these little problems, and I am learning trigonometry. And I'm revisiting geometry and relearning geometry. Because you go through that, you take it once or twice, and you just get rusty on it. Doing proofs and complementary and supplementary and internal, adjacent, and opposite adjacent, and all the other shit. It's a challenge to remember that from way, way, way back when. Doing the two-sided proofs and all that stuff. Remembering that's tough, but I'm coming back to it. You solve certain prices and totals the same sort of mathy way. Yeah. But yeah, I'm learning trig. I'm learning trig, SOHCAHTOA. I've graphed out and written out the principles of the sine, cosine, and tangent circles. 30, 60, 30, 60, 90, 30, 45, 60, 90, and all of the sine, cosine, tangents, intercepts around the circle. And I've graphed out my cosine, graphed out my sine wave, graphed out my tangents. Tangents are weird. I love them. But I'm getting very comfortable with trig. I'm very happy about that. But in my little side gig with tutoring, I'm really having fun with these kids. And there's just a handful of kids that are advanced beyond the middle school range, and I've got to bone up and raise my game so that I can help these kids out and do do the math that they need to be done. Because some of these dumb kids don't fucking show their work, and you got to actually do the work on the page in your head, and it is a challenge. Whew. It is a challenge sometimes. You look at it and you're like, wait, that doesn't look right. And then you got to do the math. Ugh. The unit circle. Yeah, that's it. That's the one that I'm talking about. Is chosen for this. Another fun question. That particular circle is chosen because radius equals 1, and you can do all the calculations at the different angles. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. And the properties of triangles, where 30, 60, 90 triangle, your side opposite of 30 is equal to 1/2 of the hypotenuse. Your special triangles, the 4, 5, 6 triangle, right? Because 16 plus 25 is 30. Well, no, wait, that's not right. 4, 5, 6? No. 4, 5, 6? No, it's not a 4, 5, 6 triangle. It's a 4, 5. The 3, 4, 5 triangle. That's the one I'm thinking of. The 3, 4, 5 triangle. The 3, 4, 5 triangles, the principles of inscribed circles and angles outside of a circle, and tangents, and shit. I am so much loving this. The research that goes into the studying that goes into relearning this shit. I am thoroughly enjoying this. I might even keep doing it when I don't have to. Equilateral triangles, right triangles, all the special triangles, the triangles that, the principles of equilateral triangles, the principles of isosceles triangles, the principles of triangles inside of circles, the principles of triangles inside of squares, all of this. Oh my God, I'm getting a math boner just talking about it. It's so much fun. It is so much fun. And stuff that people don't even think about, like the perimeter of a circle on the outside of the circle is different from the perimeter of a circle on the inside of a circle. The perimeter of a square on the outside of a square is different from the perimeter of a square on the inside of a square. There's a reason for this. It's counterintuitive. We don't think of it this way, but it's true. The distance is the same. If you take the square and you stretch it out, each side is x. Stretch out the distance, it's 4x. Boom, 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 boom. Right? But if you take a circle with the same circumference, the circle, say the circle has a circumference of 4, the square has a circumference of 4. You wrap the square back up, you put the circle on the edge, you roll the circle, it goes a quarter of a roll along this line, and then it turns, and it goes a quarter of a roll, then it turns, goes a quarter of a roll, and then it turns all the way up. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 quarters of a roll, but you also have at each corner 3 quarters of a roll. So you have 3 quarters of a roll times 4 plus 4 quarters. So, but on the inside, you don't have that because you have the circle on the inside, and it rolls 1 quarter of a roll, then it rolls a quarter of a roll, then it rolls a quarter of a roll, then it rolls a quarter of a roll, and you're done. It doesn't work the same inside a square as it does outside a square. So when you have a square that's not stretched out, when you roll the square out, the perimeter of a square and the circumference of a circle are the same. But when you roll that square up and become 4 sides again, the circle does not just go around 1 time, it goes around 4 times. There's a reason for that. I love math. My God, I love this. You build a tripod stool with a leather triangle seat. That sounds like work that you do, Ness, What's the height of the seat from the ground versus the edge side of the leather equilateral seat shape? Oh. Circle problems, chords, angle of chords, center of the edge. Find the area of the square inscribed inside the circle. Oh my God, talk dirty to me. The point on the edge of the circle in two segments. Ah, God. Talk dirty to me, baby. Then draw segments from the center of the circle to the same chord. What's the relation of the angle from the edge to the center of the chord? Oh, baby. Z-Man. Welcome to the party. We're talking dirty talk. Me and Nessa, we're talking dirty talk. She's talking math, and I'm loving it. We're talking math. We're all talking mathematics to me, baby. Tell me about that inscribed circle. Oh yeah, you want me to touch your acute angles? Oh baby, is that an isosceles triangle in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me? Wow. Oh Christ Almighty. Uh, oh. The top of my knee to the floor wearing shoes to the top of the knee height. Um, Z-Man, if I've seen you before, welcome back. If I haven't seen you before, um, welcome to the party. If I have seen you before and don't remember it, my apologies. If I haven't seen you before because you haven't been around, then by all means, hit that subscription button and that notification bell, because we do shit like this every Wednesday night. We were talking about AI and automated cars earlier and the promise of automated cars. How that's going to just redraw cities, redraw, uh, freeways. It's gonna be revolutionary. The ding dong who came up with the Segway said that it's going to change the way they build cities. He was full of shit. What's going to change the way they build cities is automated cars. Fully autonomous cars are, that communicate with each other through Bluetooth. It's going to eliminate lanes of freeways. It's going to eliminate lanes of road in urban areas. It's going to eliminate traffic lights. There's going to be zones of cities that are for autonomous cars only. There's going to be zones of cities that are for hybrid, autonomous and driver, and then there's going to be lanes on the freeway that are designated for individual driver cars and driverless cars, and there's going to be full on zones that are autonomy prohibited, autopilot prohibited, like around the mountains. Like you've got to drive up the mountain, you've got to drive down the mountain. They can't leave that to AI. You've got to be part of it, right? You've got to be engaged in this process. Maybe school zones, places like that where you have to have your hands on the wheel. But the places where you have to drive will be limited. So driverless. But what I was saying also earlier was that oh, I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Z-Man. I seem to remember seeing your name come by before. I seem to remember it. I try to keep my I mean, I've got 2,000 something subs. I can't keep everybody in line. So I do. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate the support. I appreciate you coming by and being part of the conversation. I absolutely appreciate it. But one of the biggest challenges that we face with AI and automated cars specifically is who owns the car. Because if you're not driving and it crashes into somebody, who's liable? Are you liable? Are you liable as the driver and the owner, theoretically, or is the people who write the code and tell the car how to drive, are they liable? Is the liability split? Or if you're driving in an autonomous allowed zone, does that mean, obviously the liability is on you when you're driving, but if it's an autonomous allowed zone and the AI is driving and the car crashes into somebody, is it Apple or Google or Tesla or whoever wrote the code? Are they liable when you get in an accident? If you kill somebody, God forbid, you're driving through a school zone, and it's an autonomous zone or a non-autonomous zone, or you're driving through a neighborhood that's not an autonomous free neighborhood. You're driving through the neighborhood. You're on one of the major roads of your neighborhood. Look, we have a road over here, the 30-mile-an-hour road, jogging paths on either side. Person wanders into the road. I would be able to avoid that person if I were driving. So if I hit that person, I'm liable. But if the car does it, is the car liable? The owner of the car, the person who wrote the code, the capitalism. Nothing bad about capitalism. Not saying good or bad, but capitalism stands as much in the way of automation and AI and autonomous cars as anything else. Now, on the other side of that, capitalism is pushing, like capitalism, the ethos that we have, our culture of capitalism, is pushing AI hard for scripts and poetry and books and AI generated social media posts, AI generated all this AI generated shit that replaces human interaction. AI generated scripts where they bring in writers to clean it up. AI generated social media posts where they bring in the media company to clean it up. That's the cases where humans come in and we're secondary parts of the cog. We're maintenance. They're the talent. We're the maintenance. I mean, it's an interesting process. I love thinking about it. I am very very bullish on autonomous cars. I absolutely would love to sit in a car and just relax while I drive to Austin. Absolutely. Do you show your kids how to determine if a number? Oh, absolutely. Divisible by 3 is one of the easiest, one of the most fun little tricks. For those of you who don't know, if the digits of a number add up to a multiple of 3, that number is a multiple of 3. Like 51. 5 plus 1 is 6. 6 is a multiple of 3. 51 is divisible by 3. You wouldn't think it is, but it is. Yes, that is one of my favorite tricks to show these kids. It blows their minds. If it's divisible, if you can divide it in half and it's even, it's divisible by 4. 7 is the one that doesn't have the most tricks. It has the least number of tricks. I haven't quite cracked the tricks on 7. I don't remember them very well. But if it ends in 0 or ends in 5, it's a multiple of 5. If it ends in 2, 4, 6, 8, 0, it's a multiple of 2. If it's if all of the digits are multiples of 4, or you divide it in half and it's still even, it's a multiple of 4. If you divide it in half and it's even, and divide it in half again and it's even, it's a multiple of 8. If it's divisible by 4 and 2, it's a multiple of 8. If it's divisible by 3 and even, it's a multiple of 6. If you add the numbers and they're a multiple of 9, it's divisible by 9. I don't know a lot of tricks for 7. 7 is dumb. I don't like 7. I hate that number, just in general. 7 is bad. Will an autonomous vehicle be able to pick me up and bring me to my appointments at VA Hospital 62 miles south before I go legally? I don't know if it'll be able to do it before legally blind, but there are places where, yeah, that's possible entirely right now. I don't know if it'll be able to do it in Connecticut before you go legally blind, but yeah. I mean, I think in our lifetime, if they figure out the liability and ownership question, I think we'll see fully autonomous vehicles driving on our roads with us. I really do think that'll happen. I really do. And I'm here for it. I'm down. I want it to happen, without question. Self-driving car in California get confused from construction cones. Google sends out to repair crew to help it and keeps it driving. I've seen stuff like that where the cars get confused. They cause accidents. They kill people because they run into somebody who ran out into the middle of the street or something like that. Which leads me, and that makes sense The cars experience something that's weird that they don't understand and they just kind of shut down. And that's why they need human intervention, because if you have yeah, the AI that we have right now is really bad at solving problems. It can do what you tell it to do, but it's really bad at figuring things out. At going from A to B to C and then not seeing D and figuring out how to get to E. It's bad at that. It's getting better, but it's really bad at it. So, um, if I hit someone crossing the road in Texas, I'm driving. I hit someone in Texas, I'm liable. Most of the time. Most of the time. Now there's extenuating circumstances where you're driving and it's a blind spot. They jump out from between two cars or something like that. Um, Generally speaking, if I hit somebody who runs out into the road, generally speaking, it's failure to control speed. It may not always be vehicular manslaughter. It may not always be unintentional manslaughter, whatever the term is for that. But at the very least, it'll be a ticket for failure to control speed. Um, it depends on where it's at in the street. If I'm running the stop sign and they run out in the road and I hit them, that's me, obviously. If it's the middle of the road, like a blind, like there's a van and they come darting out from behind the van, that's almost always going to be dismissed and almost always going to be forgiven by the state, like charges dropped, whatever. Because you can't control that. They just ran out in the street and got hit by a car. It depends. I mean, it's not a or B type of thing. I mean, somebody runs out in the street and you hit them, it might be your fault. It might not be your fault, depending on the extenuating circumstances. I think the default is that if you hit somebody, it's your fault. I think that's kind of the default, but that's when you get to tell the rest of it. Like I was driving down the road and they were wearing all black with a black hoodie on, and I didn't see him until the last minute. And as he heard my car come, he turned and I hit him. I didn't see him till the last minute. I couldn't react because he was wearing all black walking on the side of the road. I mean, you don't get blamed for that. Um, like you got to live with it, but that's not your fault legally. Um, you were hit in Fort Worth near the mall crossing the street. Okay. Cheers, Tater Dom. Welcome to the party, man. Oh, by the way, I don't know if you were around last night when I finished it. This is the finished product of what I was working on the last couple of days. Y'all will get to see the progression of this over the next couple of days because we got the plumbing going in, and then the fixtures going in after that, and then the drywall going up to box that whole thing in. Gas price cost is a fun exercise to teach kids. Yeah. I tell a number is divisible. Yeah. I mean, the tricks, the number sense stuff. There's so many times when I'm trying to teach these kids basic stuff and I have all the tricks and number sense knowledge in my head and I just want to reach inside them and pull it out of them. It's like, why are you taking so long to do this? And I'm like, oh yeah, it's because you're 6. Show why those divisibility tricks works. Well, not tricks, you just know fun. Yeah, I mean, well, it is. It's tricks. I mean, that's what it is. Just like it's a method to make the card disappear. That's known as a magic trick. I know mathematic tricks. It is 50-50 liability for that being hit and the driver of the car. I mean, it depends. I mean, if you run out in the street, in the middle of the street, it's probably your fault for running out in the street. But if I hit you at a crosswalk, it's my fault. It's absolutely my fault. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, like I said, there's extenuating circumstances, and I think the juries generally don't like it when cars hit people. But yeah, I mean, it depends. That's what it all boils down to. It depends. Change the facts, you change the findings. You never know. Anywho, so 30, oh, 29 times 20.75. Oh, we passed the 10-hour mark. Good. I can go to bed. 10:02. 10:02. Tater Dom has joined the party. I'm going to hang out for another. All right, we're going to wrap this up in 30 minutes. When can you sue the driver? You can always sue the driver. You can sue anybody for anything. That's the great thing about the American justice system. You can sue anybody for anything. You may not win, but you can sue. You can always sue. Yeah, for the boards, for the walls that I'm building, I am gluing them to the floor. I might go back and go ahead and just drill them in. I want to make sure. I want to see if they're moving. I want to see if they've anchored. If they haven't anchored, I'll go get the equipment and bolt them into the floor before I put up the siding. But as for now, I'm happy with the glue. A polyhedron in 3 dimensions, and then a regular polyhedra in other dimensions. That's fucked up. Rita, head to the VA. Okay, well, you go ahead to the VA. Thank you, Tater Dom. I appreciate that. And to be completely honest, I really do hope it pays off too. We're going to have a bathroom. We'll be able to be open longer hours. We can be able to have people. We have construction going on near the place, so hopefully that construction dies down. We have a little bit more foot traffic coming in. Driver-by traffic coming in from the road. I'm really hoping the tasting room starts to pay off in ways that it didn't before. I really am. This has been I'm super duper anxious about the second half of this year, but we're getting traction on our event. We're gonna. It looks like we're gonna have a nice crowd for our event on the 20th. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that we'll be around. We'll have another year's worth of work. And we'll have some orders that we need to fill, and we'll be able to fill them. So I'm hopeful. I'm always hopeful. I'm an eternal optimist. I am an eternal optimist. What would be really nice though is if I got just another minute's worth of watch time out of this. You have 5 platonic solids in 3 dimensions, infinitely many regular polygons in 2 dimensions. What happens? I have no idea what happens when you go to all this. I don't know what that means. I can't do that in my head at my stage right now. I've had too much whiskey to talk about this. I did feel really cool when I figured out the key to the the 3-door puzzle. Not Whose Line Is It? It's Let's Make a Deal puzzle. We have 3 doors. 3 doors. Boom, boom, boom. You pick one door. Behind one door is $1 million. Behind another door is a goat. And you pick a door. And then the host says, okay, let me show you what's behind the other door. And he opens up a door and it's a goat. Or it's nothing. Right? It's not the winner. He closes the door. He says, I'll give you a chance to change your option from door 1 to door 3 or door 2 or door 3 because he opens up door 2 and behind door 2 is nothing. It says, I'll give you the option to change it. Door 2 is nothing. You're picked a door. The other door could be the money or it could be the goat. What are you going to do? Every single time you're supposed to change it because it's a 60% chance of success if you change it. I figured out the solution to that. The solution, we always assume that it's a dependent variable, that the variable of A is dependent on B and C. It's not true. Every single one of them is an independent variable. That's the key to the let's make a deal puzzle. We assume that they're dependent, and our default thinking when we think of probability is dependent variables. But because they're independent variables, it changes the math. If they were dependent, yeah, it would be you go from a 30% chance with the door you picked to a 50% chance with the door you picked, and that's fine. But because they're independent variables, you go from a 30% chance from the door you picked to a 60% chance for the door you didn't pick. So the solution to the problem is to always change doors. You won't always win, but you'll win 60% of the time. Anywho, the hypercube is one shape there. Oh God, the hypercube, 4-dimensional space. That is math that I am not capable of doing at this hour. Thank you, Vanessa. Cheers and peace be with you. May the good Lord keep you and have you safe always. Amen. Thank you. All right, let me do some math real quick. 21.5 to 1.5 times 29. Are we at 11? 623. We're close. Divided by 60. We're at 10.4. All right, so it's coming time to wrap up the sure. Okay, final recap. It's time to wrap up the sure. AI bad. AI good. Capitalism bad. Unchecked capitalism. Capitalism good, but unchecked capitalism, not so much. We need guardrails. We need doors and walls and guardrails and stripes on the roads and stuff like that. Capitalism good, but capitalism need to be taught. Automated cars, great. Except when not so great. Mountain switchbacks, certain zones, cone of driverdom. And eventually that attitude will change because it'll be quite obvious that automated cars are better than driver cars in every circumstances, even in school zones, because your precious little Dylan may be too small for me to see him, but it's not too small for the motion sensors in the car's bumper to see him. And if he gets hit by an automated car, it's because the automated car doesn't like him because he's a spoiled little shit who got all of the fucking Star Wars toys when they first came out, when all I wanted was a Luke Skywalker action figure. But did I get the Luke Skywalker action figure? No, I got the Yoda action figure. You know who got the Luke Skywalker action figure? Fucking Dylan, along with all of the others, and the Death Star, and the transportation vehicle, and the AT-AT. That little son of a bitch got the AT-AT. And what did I have? Yoda. I had Yoda. Anyway, Dylan deserves to get hit. He's a fucker. But everybody else, I don't even know where I started with that. I don't remember. I completely and totally lost my train of thought. I don't know where that rant came from. But Dylan, I do remember Dylan being an asshole. I hated that kid. Oh God. I liked his toys though, so I went and hung out with him and played with his toys. But I did not like him. He was a jerk. Anyway, drive to the Grand Canyon, self-driving cars and make them. I mean, that's possible. You know, I mean, why not hack the cars and make them drive? You can drive them yourself. But, you know, as long as they have steering wheels, you should be in good shape. All right, kids. I got to do this. I got to wrap it. I'm tired. My speech is slurring. Spurchuslian times 21.75. 630, that's 10 and a half hours. Divided by 60. Shout out to my boy Slade Ham. He's doing a Kickstarter to raise funds for his comedy special. If you don't know anything about that, you should. Slade's a pretty cool guy. So there's that. We're doing our mini fest on next Friday. I'm in Huntsville on Saturday. We're open tomorrow night, Friday or day after tomorrow, Friday night from 5 to 9 p.m. Come out and join us if you're in the Houston area. If you're in the Houston area, come out and join us. If you're not in the Houston area, get to the Houston area as soon as you can, because what's wrong with you? In the meantime, I am the Old Humble Guy. I'll continue to be the Old Humble Guy, and you will not. Be awesome to each other. Cheers. And have a great night.